Do you want to be a part of the CoCo community? Sure, we all do. So join this free weekly live talk show to find out how easy it is to watch at home and learn about your color computer. At the CoCoNation, more than 9 million men and women have participated in the community without setting foot outside their homes. And now at home in your spare time, you can see what's happening, or even join the discussion. Choose from any one of these segments: panel intros, project updates, acquisitions, CoCo thoughts, featured interviews and events, the Game On Challenge, news, Ron's Garage, CoCo commercials, show coverage, panel goodbyes, or you can join one of our extra shows. You can choose from the Game On Challenge Live or CoCo Tech. Join the CoCoNation right now.
Click the link for the free information TJBChris spoke about. Then decide if you want to watch the CoCoNation Live Show, the world's leading live weekly talk show featuring the Tandy color computer, its siblings, cousins, and redheaded stepchildren. Visit thecoconation.com. There is no obligation and no salesman will visit you. Visit thecoconation.com.
The CoCoNation show is an unscripted, live, and interactive broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own, and not necessarily those of the CoCoNation show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds are encouraged, and a sense of humor is recommended. Thank you for being a part of the CoCoNation.
Radio Shack? Okay.
What?
The 80s called.
Welcome to the CoCoNation, the world's first live and interactive talk show featuring the Tandy color computer and its hardware cousins.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CoCoNation Show, episode 448. I'm getting a little stuttering on my end. Is it just me, or is it all over?
It's you.
Just me?
I had trouble getting into Twitch here. It was stalling for a bit, so I don't know if it's just you or not.
Well, we'll go with it. If not, I'll thinking the cellular internet may be a little so-so today. Okay, let's see. On the panel today, we start off with Marco.
Hey there, glad to be here today.
And then we got Ron Deluxe.
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
And next over, we got Rick Euland.
I'm going to stick with this camera where it looks comfortable.
Okay. And Ken Waters.
Happy Saturday, everybody.
And then we got Wingnuts.
Hey, good afternoon.
Okay. And yours truly, the button pusher. All right, Frederick, micro hobbyist.
Hello, it's been a while.
Yeah, I hadn't seen you in a bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, my mom passed away last month, so I wasn't in the mood to come in. So,
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So that's sorry to bring the level down, but let's cheer up a bit. I need it.
Okay. Well, to cheer us all up, we got L. Curtis Boyle.
Welcome to the show, everyone. How's that?
That's good.
Ooh,
It's up.
Nice cheer.
I will sound a bit hoarse here. I've got a cold I'm fighting off. So
Not quite David Ladd.
Well, no.
Next
Or
row we
Henry.
got. Yeah, we haven't seen either one of those guys in a while, have we?
Nope.
Let's see. Next row we got Kevin Holloway.
Hello, everybody.
And the Thunder from Down Under, we've got Nick Marentes.
We're sorry.
I just can't believe he's awake at this hour.
Very good.
I mean, it's 85 degrees there, I guess.
Yep. Oh, it's gonna be.
Yeah, Celsius,
All
right?
Fahrenheit. Well, no.
Yeah.
I'd be dead if it was Celsius.
All right. In the chat, we start off with Kevin Holloway, Wayne Campbell, Michael Ziffel, Marco, Brian Blake, Jim Rye, J.E. Jones. Already a lively discussion going on. Exile in Paradise. So is J.E. Jones and James Jones the same person?
I think so.
Okay.
Sir Jones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hope so.
Let's see. Sixy is in there today. Daddy Burrito. Daniel Kuchner.
Good
Okay.
German name. Probably Kutcher.
Ketchner. Okay. Let's see. Me and English don't get along. Let's see. Daddy Burrito. Ooh, had a lively conversation going on today. TJBChris.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm starting to get a stack overflow. Tom Eric Gunderson. Billina HSV.
Bill, nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Let's see. There's Rick U. Coco Living. James. Yeah, I think I said James Jones already. And then Micro Hobbyist. All right, we're caught up on the chat.
I just want a quick shout out to TJBChris because he's been asking in the CoCo Discord about doing an episode on hooking up a hard drive to a CoCo, and I think he's talking about the original Tandy adapter one, which used those big giant $5,000 drives, primary drives.
Right.
And a lot of people have been kind of like, saying like, you shouldn't bother with that, just use a CoCo SDC or whatever. If he can do it, I think he should, because that's something like Steve Bjork and some other of the developers actually did use. Spectral did as well back in the day.
Right.
I mean, most of us couldn't afford those, so we got the the Birkin or whatever. But
I dropped him a line about attempting to use the original Tandy hard drives.
Yeah, because that's what that original Tandy adapter hard drive controller was for.
I
To
think I
hook
have
up
the
to that.
pieces for that, so I'm going to loan it to him so we can see.
Yeah,
got one of those.
I've got one of those controllers. Isn't this drivers and software on the level 2 developers kit?
It is.
I think there's even on level 2 version 1, I think they included them, if I remember correctly. That was the 15, 35, and 70 meg ones, I think.
It's in the dev pack as well, so yeah.
Yeah, for level 2.
Very good.
But it was running on the CoCo 1 and 2 before that. That's what Steve had originally.
They had
It's
great
really-
looking.
It's a really weird system because you're actually talking to a single board computer in the master Tandy drive box. So it's not simply a hard drive interface. It's a Tandy.
Yeah, because the
Interface.
CoCo interface is really just a port.
Yeah, it's just an adapter. It's kind of like the
Yeah.
Burke and
Blue
Burke,
logic.
and then you plug in an XT controller
So-
into
so
that.
our hard
and then
drive-
goes
our-
to the CoCo.
So our hard drive is like a Commodore floppy,
Exactly. A lot faster.
except you get a lot more out of a hard drive with its own computer than a floppy with its own computer for the money. Exactly.
By the way, TJBChris in the chat says, "Thanks, guys. If one finds its way here, consider that video done." So he's looking forward to it.
All right.
That way I don't have to do it. I can just watch.
Okay, so let's start off with some project updates. Get over here. Turn that off, turn that on. Let's see, we had Rick.
Okay, well, I got to say, I would have more done, but I woke up this morning and here's the, oh, that's the wrong one.
That's the CoCo gauge.
That's the CoCo
Oh,
gauge.
looks like plenty of work there. Oh, yeah.
Here's the
that too.
CoCo marrow when I got up this morning. Keep in mind, this car was clear last night, so
It looks like it has a frown on its face.
it's quite tall now. It's almost as tall as a pickup truck.
So,
Which-
so what is all this white stuff all over it?
Yeah.
The insulation properties, though.
Asbestos, yeah. Asbestos.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That or the
I'm just
somebody
wondering
dumped
why-
cocaine on it.
Yeah, but I was just going to ask, like, how come you have so little snow there? Like,
The snow blower is your friend. Yeah, no, we had a
Rick is-
solid melt last week, so
yeah, we did too. Actually, we were like above freezing for like 9 days straight. Now we're back to like minus 30 with the wind chill again.
but now we're it's backed off a little bit. I didn't have the CoCo gauge out in time, so I had to go throw it out there. You can see where I.
Oh, this is a live shot. I can see snowflakes falling.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're monitoring progress as we go.
And that black SUV is great background.
It's pretty.
Yeah,
good
there's only one
quality.
problem. My OCD is telling me I gotta straighten that camera.
Oh man, I have to get up and
He
walk
lives on a
around,
hill.
That's
flip the
right, he's on a
monitor
hill.
There you go.
backwards.
He's on a
That's
hill.
so yeah, we can. Yeah, here he goes now. He's sliding down.
He's sliding down. You hear a big crash soon.
And I think I answered a question that I never understood before. Let's see. I didn't get to type out the little explanation for it, but in basic 09, you'll see a lot of places where they have if, A is equal to 1, then else if A is equal to 2, then else if A is equal to 3, then, and it kind of keeps stepping across the page. And I was wondering why they did that. Well, I tried doing it the other way. So I check if a variable is a certain number, and if it is, I do something. And then I come in later to check if it's 2. It wasn't. It was 1. So it says false. It's not a 2. But then it goes right ahead and does what it would have done if this had been true.
So it treats it as a true.
It still treats it as true because the previous if was true. I'm not really sure why. But now I understand why people do it, the staggered. I didn't like it because after you do 3 or 4 if-thens, you're halfway across the screen because the else's keep stacking the next if.
You must have some extra if-thens in there that we're not seeing though, because you got a return in there.
Oh, well,
At
this is a debug. Yeah, this return was from the original if.
Oh, okay. So this is like your live debug.
They were
You're just seeing the
coming out
lines
of
being
this-
executed. Gotcha.
Yeah, and here's the indef. And now this should be a new test, but it didn't make a new test. It came up with false and then proceeded right on as if this test was true.
So what is temp
So-
0 then at this point?
It's still 1. It's what executed this line. I like I say, I should have got a list of the code out, but it was executing along just fine. 4DA indef, 4DD start of the next question. Temp hasn't changed, but it treated it as if it had.
Okay,
Yeah,
because we would have to see, like, if we did a Control C and just did print temp 0, just see, make sure it's
Well,
what you
yeah,
think it
well,
is.
and right here it says temp O is false. This comparison is
No,
false.
it means the comparison temp 0 equals 2 is false.
Right, but then it went on as if that comparison was true and continued executing, which is kind of strange.
You sure there's not another line in between there? Because that's a pretty big
well, no,
jump
there-
from 4D0 to 525 for that little.
There is a line in between there, but it's not a decision. Like I wish I hadn't shoveled snow in the morning. I had. I'll bring this up in more detail on Discord or something. But yeah,
Okay.
there's no decisions being made, and it jumps.
Because that'd be a pretty glaring bug,
Interesting.
and I don't think I've
It
ever
is.
hit that. So
Well, no, I've never seen anyone do if temp equals 1, then end if temp equals 2, then end if temp equals 3. They always do that. If temp equals 1, then else. If temp equals 2, then else. And then at the end, they have end if to get all the way back.
yeah, because basically you do that if they're mutually exclusive. You would do the fall through like you're doing here if there multiple combinations possible, or if one of the other ifs can actually change the value of temp 0. And then you
See,
want
that's weird. That's why I wonder why people did that, because it makes it hard to read.
I've used it both ways depending on what I'm trying to do.
But I found a case where it didn't work. Now it's interesting. It did skip a couple of lines in. Is it skipping the distance of this first?
Like if after the attempt 0 equals 2, then if it's skipping lines, that means it could do false because it's not doing the part with the if. And this
Well, but it
input
never
part should
made
be
it.
either the after an end if or after an else.
It only
What do you
made
think
a
of?
few lines down. It didn't actually make it to any other compare. Well, yeah, we should.
I'd have to see the code.
Yeah, we've got to do this in real life. But yeah, I beat my head on this for a while, and I fixed it by at the end of every if, I have a go-to to jump to the end of the chain, end if. That way, we never actually do the next test.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons for doing the massive else and if else if else if yeah.
These computer guys, they put and if but not but. Why is that? Because but doesn't do anything.
Right.
Is
There's
it like
another
fall?
thing I found. I actually should put on my I'm so deep into basic here. I'm gonna have to put on my towel.
Yeah, I got
There.
one too.
Now I'm sub-ethad.
That
And-
means you're a cool fruit.
A fruity dude, yeah.
Yep.
And now the next one that I found, substrings. Here's my test string. Substring, okay, the N's at position 4, the W, blah, blah, the P isn't there. And
Okay,
it's
so
not-
test string is that PNWH. Blah,
That's
blah, blah.
we have space P, space N, space W as one string. And we're going through it, picking out letters, but we can't find the P. I don't understand why.
I don't understand either because N is not in position 4. N's in position
1,
2.
2, 3. Oh, it is 4.
So it starts at 0.
Oh, maybe.
I've seen some JavaScript do that.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that could be, but still, this would be 1 then. If
Oh,
it's
that's right.
starting
You got
at
spaces
0,
in there, right? So
yeah, so this is, if it starts at 0, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. No? That would
yeah,
still
we
be
think
4.
so. Is that spaces or is that
we're-
nulls in between?
It's supposed to be spaces. It's
Okay.
all concanted together from basic, so concatenated, however you say that.
So it's just not, it's just,
Missing the P. I don't know if I broke something. So anyway.
or is it missing the space and P is really at position 0?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
maybe the leading space
0.
isn't really there. The print's doing it for some reason.
So if P is 0, N should be at 2.
On 2, but it's coming up as 4. This is just weird.
So W should be 5. Or no, 6. And it is.
Which it is.
H should be 8, and it is.
So that leading space does seem to be there then because the 4
Yeah.
for the N would be
And
0,
this is
1 would be
just- I
P
mean-
space, N would be.
Here's debug, and it's pretty honest, and it's saying this is test string, space P, space N, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Maybe I've
Maybe go through the string and dump out the ASCII values, just see if there's some hidden control character, something that's working. in
yeah,
there.
maybe something weird.
Something
That is
got
weird.
snuck in.
Because this is part of a much larger program. I'm going to have to test it simplest case. Because, yeah. Oh, well, anyway, I had a much better presentation planned, but instead I was snow all morning. So I guess I should, it's kind of,
Well, there's always next week.
yeah. I was on the, oh, that's nothing. I was making a video too, but here, that's neither here nor there. So anyway, yeah, I found a bunch of ways. Oh, and the most troubling thing this morning, my Delmar shut down all by itself. Power supply made a little popping noise.
Uh-oh.
So I've got extra power supplies, so I'm going to throw one of those in. Hopefully that's all that's going on.
Right now I'm looking for the boot disk for my TC9. Otherwise I'm just be showing a ROM boot screen.
We may be showing pictures of, yeah.
No smoke
Hey,
or
Rick.
anything?
Hey, Rick, James Jones would like a screenshot of the entire code.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe you should just send it to him.
I will do so. It'll take me a second to collect that up because I've got to go back a version or so. This was from yesterday, so my GitHub doesn't have this code. It has the newer code. I don't know. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll get it straightened up and send it to him because he'd be the man to explain if anyone can.
Okay. Any other project updates? No? Okay. Then next up is.
Am I up?
You're up.
Okay. All right, let's see. I gotta move this thing here somewhere else. There you go. Okay. So, check this out. This is what's coming.
Some kind of computer show?
Yep.
With lots of red.
Yeah, and we got the cat in there.
Oh, and so you need to update your intro with this screenshot instead of the one from 2 years ago.
That's right. I will. But, you know, I didn't want to preview the preview. Anyway, so that's that. And then
looks nice.
That's the shirt.
What does the cat represent?
The cat is from CoCo
Lonnie Falk, yeah.
magazine.
Used to make people get in a cat costume and run around the shows.
Yeah.
He was a cruel man.
And
my CoCo cat.
This is the badge. Anniversary of the CoCo 3.
Okay.
And it's the last CoCoFEST again. And that's what it looks like with before your name's put on. And this is I had to put the Glenside in there. I presented this at the show at the Glenside business meeting yesterday, and it went off greatly. I accepted.
Yeah,
because it's going to happen.
It looks great.
Nice.
Thank you, guys. All right, that's
I like
it.
that one.
Okay, so we'll see it on the web page. Probably we'll see it. There's going to be t-shirts coming, and everybody's going to be happy. I'm going to go to the show. I think I'm planning on it. Hopefully nothing crazy happens. I have an airplane going overhead. So we'll see you guys there. Got to get tables are coming up on 15th of February at 3-something p.m.
3 Central Time.
Yep. Go
After
2 o'clock mines, I guess. And so I'll be getting a table, and I'll probably bring a couple things to show. That's about it.
When do we get to start reserving the tables and stuff like that?
I think it was February 15th.
February
15th, 3 p.m. Central.
Yep.
That should be 2 Eastern. Or sorry, 4 Eastern.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it for those. We ready to jump into the game on?
Yeah, sure.
Yippers.
Okay. Gee, it's one of these buttons. Which
Hey,
one is
Curtis, did you upload the news?
it? I guess that's a no.
Welcome everybody to the CoCoNation Game On Challenge of the Week results video. This week we played Pickwitch. We had a total of 14 players. We had Mark B with 350, Mark O
What?
with 393,
You got less than me?
Sloopy Malibu 762, Coconut Bob 1091, Ed Rhodes 1512, Mike Zweifel 2276, Kieran 2296, Rich N 2407, Doug Venner 3096, Canadian Retro Things 3595, Shenley 5348, Jim Rye 5645, Retro Rick 13,793, and this week's number one score belongs to, that's right, you guessed it, Dr. Ted with 15,110. Thanks everybody that played, and we'll see you again next week.
And the CoCoNation salutes Dr. Ted.
Salute.
All right, so I was able to find one review for this. There it is, Rainbow, September 1983, had a review. Basically talks a lot about just playing the game. Comes as close to an original as any game that I have ever seen, so that's definitely a plus of this. It's something I'm surprised was not more pushed in the CoCo community, making something completely original like this. But he does say that it's an interesting game, unsure as to who it's best suited for. It's too fast-paced for young children and probably won't hold the interest of older children or adults. The author here suggests maybe 6 to 10-year-olds would be about right. So,
Project in search of an audience.
yep, I do have to say definitely it probably was too quick of a game for really young children, but the design of the game seems like it would be much better for really young children. So
That's just a skill level thing, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, it's basically a reaction time game.
yeah, kids should have better reaction time, especially when they're like 4 or 5 years old. Come on.
But when they're trying to figure the game out, it doesn't help when it's lazy by.
I find with all my nieces and nephews, you really build their reaction time by throwing increasingly heavier and heavier things at them. When they started, when they're about 3.
Oh, you're supposed to throw things at them and not throw them. Oh, that's what I was getting wrong.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah, so definitely a very original game. I can't think of anything that really is particularly similar to this that's come out in ever.
Yeah, and that's one thing the author, Dale, was actually pretty good at. I mean, Double Back, I know there's a game in the arcade called Quantum, but they were developed literally at the same time, got released around the same time. They never saw each other's work, so it was just fluke. But that's another original game, and I would consider a CoCo classic. This one's kind of the unsung hero of CoCo classics.
Yeah. And, you know, definitely a good little time waster. I mean, the author of that article said that it probably couldn't hold the interest of adults, but, you know, on the Game On Challenge Live, it held our interest for, you know, an hour and a half, which is pretty good. Except for
just out of curiosity, like, They're mentioning that, you guys have mentioned as well, I think, that it appears to be a kid's game because of some of the icons and stuff in there. Do you think if they change those to be a bit more, I don't know,
risque?
Well, not necessarily risque, but not as cutesy, I guess. It could be like violent things. Who knows? Like here's an atomic bomb explosion or something. That's negative half-life.
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, how much of it is the cutesiness of it to make it look like it's geared towards kids, and how much is the gameplay? Like the actual gameplay of it, if it was slowed down a little bit, would be much more kid-friendly. But yeah, I mean,
Custer's match.
As an adult, definitely the reaction time is. I probably did not play this game nearly as well as I would have 25 years ago. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how old Dr. Ted is, but I'm gonna just for my own ego presume he's a bit younger than us.
Well, yeah, I mean AI hasn't been around that long, so he can't be that old.
That's true. Dr. Eliza, we'll call him.
But yeah.
But yeah, I was just curious. Like the game itself, it's a reaction game and a speed reaction game. So I mean, you have to have good reflexes. Once again, teenagers and 20-year-olds probably would do the best at this. Would it be considered not so much of a child's game if the icons were changed from cutesy rainbows and ice cream cones and keys to like machine guns and something? Who knows what?
Yeah, something that like you could do the Fallout version of this game. And...
Yeah, or Halloween version or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it's a game that you could definitely just change the skins on easily. Just change the icons to whatever you wanted. Christmas edition, Halloween edition.
Kind of like Paul does with Ghost Rush.
Yeah. That's just what I was thinking of. This would be one that definitely lends it to that well. That it would be simple to release many versions of this.
Yeah, and have themes for different seasons, etc. I like that. Like when we interviewed Dale about it and we played it at the time. Like I said, I'd never seen it before then either. I don't even remember the ads. I had to go hunt through, and I finally found like in small print on the pure text part of a Spectral Associates page advertising word processors and assemblers. Oh, there's this little Pickwitch game.
Well, now you've brought up an interesting thing. This could be like the Rorschach ink blot things. Which tile set do you recognize the best? It tells something about your personality. Well, he really recognizes the hard R tiles the best, so I think he might be.
See, if that was for me, then I want more desserts. Like ice cream's just not enough. I need
more desserts
and peanut butter parfaits.
Is you could re-release this all with computers on it, and like the CoCo gives you 125 points. The Commodore cuts your score in half.
Right. I like it.
The TI-9 and 4A zilches everything.
Throw in some MC10s, Metroalices, CoCo123s, Dragons.
The Cray is a super power-up.
What'd you use for the map symbol then?
For the map symbol, a copy of the Getting Started with Extended Basic book.
Okay.
The cover.
The any symbol would be a Raspberry Pi.
We're gonna have to bump the res up too, because I think that's in a 128 by 96. You don't have a lot of pixels to play with. Yeah, Daniel says change the WAD file. WAD like the old Doom and.
Right.
But no, actually, I was particularly surprised by it because when this game was suggested to me, I looked at it and I thought, kids game, but I didn't have anything else to choose that week, so it's like, I guess we'll go with that, and it actually turned out to be a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. So I think that was one of the problems, is just the look of it. Definitely, when I got into computers, I was a bit older, like 10 to 12 years old, and I would have looked at that and thought, it's a little kid's game. I don't want that.
Yeah, I think the two critical things was, one, the graphics are definitely oriented to younger kids, even though the gameplay not necessarily so. And two, Spectral never promoted this thing at all. It was an addendum of text, by some games that were already 2 years old, but trying to get rid of like meteoroids or something like that with no screenshots, no nothing. Only got reviewed once, still no screenshots, and nobody even know what this thing looks like.
I think definitely better marketing, like not even changing the graphics. Like the graphics are, like as you said, cutesy. But if you more push the gameplay of it, like, you know, you think you got good reaction time for Space Invaders, try this.
Yeah.
You know. Then, you know, maybe some older kids maybe would have picked it up and found it was actually a really fun game to play. And I mean, not something you're gonna spend 25 hours a week playing, but something you can just...
It's like a casual game before casual games became a thing.
Right.
Just like all those
you get in and out quick. Yeah.
It could be speed run too, so that's a thing.
The phone apps that waste our time. That's exactly what this was. Dale was
it's 1982's Bejeweled.
He was so far ahead of his time.
Yeah. It was around the same time I think he was doing like Firecopter and baseball too, so...
Nope, it's actually, I think, a big shame that this was never pushed harder back in the day.
Yeah, and I know Dale, like, if you watch his interview that we did with him, God, that's going to be 2016, 2017 now. He was quite disappointed that it was not pushed. Like, he was much happier with the advertising he got for Firecopter from Adventure International. Of course, Tandy would never sell anything non-Tandy in their stores unless they were officially licensing and making exclusive rights to it. But Firecopter was quite a good game, but they actually, you know, they promoted it. They had a full-page ad in rainbow, full color with screenshots. Their catalog had color screenshots of it. And Spectral did nothing with Pickwick except just mention text, and it's cheap.
Although I guess this is kind of a game that would be hard to market. I mean, because if you're showing screenshots from it, you're gonna make it looks like a little kid's game, and if you try to explain how to play it, then it sounds like more adult-oriented game.
Yeah.
So the two don't... Yeah, I think definitely a different tile set would have been better for this game. There, you could make one especially for Rondeau that has cars on it. So like,
right?
you know, Chevy
or engine
and
blocks
Ford
or
will give
something
you a
of
bunch
different
of
types.
points. The Dodge will cut your points in half. That's what you would like, wouldn't it, Ron?
Maybe some good European cars in there. Yeah.
And a Ford ends the game.
Yeah. The only thing worse than that's the UPS truck if you find that.
Right.
Yeah,
that actually shuts your whole computer down.
They're electric.
Blows up a couple of chips. By the way, Daniel Quaker, I'm not sure I pronounced his last name. My apologies. In the chat is saying, is there a list of all the games that have been played on Game On? Yes, there is. Ken will tell you about that in a second. But he said maybe a rating of them. That's not something I don't think we really have done, have we?
No, not really. Because definitely ratings are fairly subjective. Because I know some of my favorite games have absolutely been trashed when we've played them. So
yeah, there are a few universal ones like Predator sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the kind of the closest thing we have for ratings is the number of people that played the particular game that week.
Yeah.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah.
Organic. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it's very subjective. I think actually, speaking of Predator, I think Mr. Dave 639 actually likes that game because he's actually good enough to get through multiple levels of it, which most of us just keep dying the first level
without scoring a point.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't like about the game. After watching David Ladd's video on it, I just had to try it, and I think I spent about an hour playing the game, and I never scored a single point. Like,
there's a suggestion if you don't want to go into actual ratings, you can do is it playable? I will also mention if you want to get ratings, but the cross-platform, if you go on to what's his name? We had him as a guest on the show. The guy who is going chronological gaming. There we go.
Yeah.
He actually rates all the games, and he compares console games with other console games at the time of the release. Well, how would it rate against everything else up to that point? And he does that with computers as well. And he's covered almost all the CoCo games. I don't think he's covered Pickwick yet, though.
A good website for that is what's that one that gives the letter rating, like A, B?
Oh, the guy from Alaska.
Yeah.
Icepeople.net, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So it's got all the CoCo games, well, a lot of the CoCo games rated.
Yeah, he's got, I think, a couple hundred on there. But he actually was busy for several years. He was away, and then he came back home, and he was talking about getting back into it again, but I haven't heard anything since. I don't know if that's still happening.
Have to look that up and see if I can...
Exile Paradise in chat. Can't wait for the Is It Playable Holy War for Neutroid.
Well, that depends. Are you looking at it as, is it playable by a person, or is it playable by the attract screen?
Yeah. The AI, when it plays itself and it scores higher than I can on my own on the old version of Neutroid, yeah. But the latest version of Neutroid is much improved, so
Yes, well,
that
I
no longer
will
applies,
agree with
actually.
you there.
Rick Gillen, best CoCo fighting game ever.
Discussing CoCo games.
Yeah, there was a Facebook thing we covered, I think, last week. Somebody was asking about the best fighting games. And... All right, Ken, what was the other game?
Oh, our other game that we played was Python, which was a type-in game from Hot Cocoa, I believe. And
Which has an MT10 version, which just got updated this week, too.
And it was a type-in game that was fixed by our own Bob Emery to play better.
Yep, and Jim Gary's done, we'll cover that in the gaming news, but Jim Gary's done some further modifications to it on the MT10 version, so...
Okay.
I don't know. I think he even changed his scoring somewhat, so don't use that version for the game on challenge, because it'll kind of not be fair.
However, the term pack snake works in several different ways for this game.
But well, what's there to say about Python? But it's definitely a game where you just move around the screen and collect dots.
Oh, it's not a coding game? It's not one of those, programming
No, it's
games?
not. You don't have to learn Python to play this. That was Jim Rye's fear, that he had to learn Python to play the game. But it's kind of interesting in that it's a little bit opposite. Like you can run into things. The longer your snake, you start with a really long snake, and it progressively gets shorter every time you run into something.
But an extra long snake has its own problems.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
you can run into your own tail or whatever, and then
like
you have to sit there and wait for it to pass you.
Otherwise, you got that
lose.
whole bug hitting windshield thing, which makes you shorter.
But it is, it's a interesting little, fairly fun game to play. So
now that might be a good little nuance. When you hit your own tail, it cuts you off there.
Oh, cut you in half and you lose all of it. Yeah,
Yeah, you lose the orphaned half. That
Or it could be like earthworms, and it becomes its own separate one.
It chases you.
Theoretically, you do lose everything up to that point because you
just have to wait.
You just have to wait for it to shrink down to that level. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that game other than for a type-in game, it's actually pretty good. It would be nice if it maybe varied the mazes a little bit.
It's just one maze that goes through every time?
Yeah, it's just one maze. The only thing that happens is that your Python speeds up and gets shorter.
And is it unplayable if you use a CoCo 3 speed up poke or a CoCo 1 and 2 speed up poke?
I never tried. But yeah, I guess the big thing is that it actually, if you don't die on a level, you just start the next level slightly shorter than the previous level that you started. So you can, till you're down to a snake of 10. So 10 blocks. So you can think of the length of your snake as basically your hit points.
Okay. Cool. Any tips and tricks on that one, or are you going to save that for next week?
Because the maze is the same in every one, I just found that I was just following the same pattern every time. Until you get into the levels where you have a much shorter snake, then you don't have to worry about it so much because You don't have to worry about accidentally wrapping yourself around some spot and getting stuck on your own tail.
Yeah, because that's one I don't think I've actually ever played, so that I have no
Yeah.
recollection of a tip or trick.
So I think on a medium length tail or snake, that's probably where you got your probably the best your best chances.
Mm-hmm.
Because too short a tail and you don't have enough time. Too long a tail, and like I said, if you can get the routing just right, you can play it. But then eventually you end up running into your own tail.
Yep.
So.
And it also takes longer with the longer snake because you have to just keep going around and around the screen just to get like one dot. And then you have to go all the way around the screen again to get the one dot that's like one level or one hallway over from it. But yeah, actually a pretty good game. Does anybody else have tips or tricks for that game or for Pickwitch? Well, I guess we never talked about tips or tricks for Pickwitch.
Faster?
Which, honestly, for Pickwitch, I found the easiest way to play was I would just set myself on a tile, and I would just wait there until a bad tile came up. Then I would move off of that one.
Yeah, and always go for a map if you can.
And if you get the map, always go for the spyglass. Unless you're really early on and you only have like 20 points or 50 points or something, then the spyglass isn't worth it, but...
Also play it when you're younger, when you still have reflexes.
Right. Exactly. Or just play it as if you're an AI.
Yeah.
But anybody else have anything to say about either of those games?
Nope. Except, how did the game on live challenge go?
Oh, well, I guess...
I don't think Sloopy's here to do that,
We
is he?
had one.
Oh, well, would you look at that? There it is. So, as you can see, well, at this point in the thing, we're all playing Python.
And some of different colors, it looks like.
Oh, just hold on a second. Where's my stuff here?
Oh, is Mark still the dim guy? Who was the dim guy?
I've been told I'm pretty dim.
Well, I think last week Marco was dim, so I was wondering if that was the same thing, but I don't think that's him.
No, that was Jim. Was that either Jim? Yeah, that was Jim Rye, I think. Or, yeah.
Which one's blinking all the time? What's that?
Yeah, he was the one that was blinking. Oh, yeah, that is Mark. That's Marco. That's I think a little dim there. Was Marco
bright.
there? I can't remember who was there. Come on, this was like 2 days ago.
My memory has reached its limits.
Actually, I'm not even sure I'm there yet. Let me see here. There, now I'm there. But yeah, definitely, I think Python was the game of the... At the start was the game that everybody was playing. And then we started in with some Pickwitch and some Donkey Kong. And some more Python. And as the crowd shrunk, we moved into more Pickwitch.
Got some decent scores there, too, in a couple thousands.
Yep. As I said, it's not that, like, it's really good. Like, when you've got a couple of thousand points to get that spyglass, it shoots your score up really quickly. Just definitely avoid all of the negative things. Especially the scissors. And the stop sign, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I think my best game that I was playing, I had about 5,000 points or something. Just about 6,000 points. And I hit a scissors accidentally and cut my score in half, and then I hit a stop sign right after that.
Beauty.
But yeah, so if you want to join us in the live Game On Challenge, then it's Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern. You can just join us by going to the CoCoNation Game On Challenge live Discord channel and join us. You can play on an emulator, you can play on real hardware, you can use the Play Now button in the archive. Just share your screen. Then you can also be made fun of like the rest of us at our really poor gaming skills. And if you can't join us in person, you can watch us on YouTube or on Twitch and also make fun of us. So, yeah. That's on Thursday nights. All right. I guess now is the time that I will show you what next 2 weeks game is going to be. And this is also our kind of our 300th week of Game On Challenge.
What do you mean kind of?
There's been a couple. I'm not exactly 100% sure of how many weeks we've gone, because there's a couple of weeks where there's been like multiple games when we're
Oh, right. Like last Christmas, we actually
Yeah.
skipped a week, and yeah, that's true.
So this is number 300 on the list anyway. And there's really no guessing on this one, because it's another one of those ones that has the name of the game plastered all over the top of the screen. So,
Okay. Yeah, that's the CoCo 3 clone of Rastan, I think.
yeah. It's a little bit of a fiddly game.
Yes.
It's pixel perfect jumping in it, but
And kind of blocky movement and stuff, too. This is Glenn Dahlgren of Sundog,
Sundog.
just learning how the CoCo 3 works. This is one of his earliest titles for it. So he got much better by Come Guy when it came out.
yeah. But I'm actually interested to see how far Dr. Dead can get in this game.
Yeah, the later levels, actually, there's some pretty cool monsters and cool scenery in the background. You get into castles, you get these skeletal things coming after you and stuff. There's some pretty cool stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gone all the way through myself, but I think Paul Thayer has, if I remember.
So this is the game for the next 2 weeks.
So CoCo 3, joystick, 128K, and that should be all you need for that one.
Yep.
I think this one was designed for one button joystick too, if I remember. The jump is pushing the joystick up, and the primary button is for hitting, I think.
I played it a little while ago. I think so. Also released in 1988, so. So, have fun with that, everybody.
Cool. I should mention, Ken, I don't know, you can take these suggestions or not, or maybe somebody else suggest them, but there's a couple new game releases for the CoCo this week, too, that you might want to consider for one of the upcoming ones to stay current. Which will cover the game on news.
I use a 40-year-old computer. What's the staying current?
You'll see. It'll be coming up for
Okay.
Game On News here.
Man, does that mean I have to stay awake for the news?
The game part, you should. That's kind of your shtick. The regular news, you can have a nap.
Fine. We'll do the gaming news first then, because.
All right, so let's go ahead and take our commercial break, and then we'll come back with the news.
Sounds good.
Hello, everyone. It's your good buddy, your good pal, Amigo Aaron, joined by that dastardly The Brent from ARG Presents.
You're watching CoCoNation.
I feel like that should have been longer.
The CoCoNation Show would like to thank the following patrons: AC's 8-Bit Zone, Alex Gare, Alan Huffman, Barry Tompkinson, Boysen Tech, Brendan Donnie, Brian Walsh, Brian Weasler, Karen Askham, Coconut Bob, Daddy Burrito, David Ladd, Derek Smithson, Diego BF109, Don Barber, Eric Canales, Frederick Segard, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Wabke, Grant Leedy, Henry Gernhardt, Henry Strickland, Jason Warrens, Jeffrey Drywater, Jim Mullis, Justin Larson, Ken Reichard, Kevin Holloway, Mark Castellan, Michael Hill, Patrick Euland, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, R. Allen Murphy, Richard Harding, Rob Inman, Rocky Hill, Steve Batson, Terry Trapp, TJBChris, Tom C., Tom Gunderson, Tom S., William Athing. Thank you so much, patrons. If you would like to support the CoCoNation show, sign up at patreon.thecoconation.com.
Hey everyone, I'm TJBChris, and I'm watching the CoCoNation live show, and so are you. And probably shouldn't be pointing that thing at you. Enjoy!
The CoCoNation would like to thank our Discord boosters, Boysen Tech, Frederick Micro Hobbyist Sagard, Glenside Computer Club, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, and Wingnut 2626. Please consider joining Discord and visiting the welcome section to see what the community has to offer. Just go to discord.thecoconation.com.
When you want the latest in TRS-80, Tandy, Dragon, MC10, and all of their hardware cousins. No matter what it takes, or where news breaks, from around the world to your nation. The CoCoNation News with L. Curtis Boyle.
Okay, so as I was teasing with Ken before the break there's a couple new CoCo releases, and actually the first story is going to be the first one, which we have talked about earlier, so I'm sure you guys are aware of it. And that is Quarks. So Paul Shoemaker did this port to the CoCo 3 of the game by the 8-bit guy, which previously been in the Commodore 64, and it's going to get probably onto multiple platforms too. And there's a couple of things here. So the official shareware release, which he's got the video of here, is got some limitations from the commercial release, but it's a free download, and you can get it on the site. I'll show that a little bit later, and of course the links to all this stuff will be in the show notes, as it usually is on the CoCo Discord. But this is the complete game. There's multi-voice music using Simon Jonason's engine. There's various tile sets you can pick, but if you get the full commercial one, there's more of them. So there's a bit of extras that have been added on to the official release, and there's several different ways that's released. But for those of you who've not seen from last week, I thought I'd run part of the demo here so you guys can kind of see what the gameplay actually is like. It's kind of based on the arcade game Columns. On the CoCo, we've had one, Gems and Gems 2 by John Strong back in the early 90s that were kind of the same style of a game. I have to say the graphics here do look a fair bit more colorful and stuff. Looks quite good, actually, and we'll get into some of the details. But the shareware download's available now. If you go to the 8-bit Guy's site and you hit his shareware section, you have to scroll down to the bottom, which I'll show shortly as well. And you can see the SW is the shareware version. So as you can see here, the full version includes 2 additional block sets and 4 additional animations that are not in here. And I'm thinking this continue, press the key to continue once the timer reaches 0 was probably to seed the R&D. And free to distribute. So I think Retro Rick had mentioned in Discord that he might include it in one of his upcoming compilations of PD games type thing, or shareware games. Let's skip the loading screen because it's not necessary. This is the CoCo 3 only version. I will mention a bit about the CoCo 1 2 later. Is the sound coming through okay?
Yep. Yeah.
I do like that light effect going across the title too.
You know, for not having a SID, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was all in software. I did ask him actually about could he run the background music on the actual gameplay, and he said it was slowing it down a little bit too much because he's got that whole animated background. If he didn't have that, I think this would have worked. Like just moving the blocks themselves would have been fine. The sound effects are pretty decent, I think. And you get a little bit of music when you get up a level. Let's see if we can find that. Yeah, there. That just got the tail end of it. And I think as we showed last week, you notice also when you're level 2, the background completely changes. Not only the color, but the patterns it does of the backgrounds change. Like now you're kind of flying into a star-shaped thing. So a bit of variety in the backgrounds as you progress levels as well. But very well done in very short time too. I think I probably only worked on it for a few weeks, to be honest. I'll play a little bit at the end for you missed it last week. That's what happens when you die. So that'd be a good high score game for the Game On Challenge. And there's a shareware version that people could play, or they can get the full version. So speaking of, the cartridge version is available for pre-order at this point. It's using the actual cartridge design that Tandy used, that Mark Siegel had given to John Linville and Neil Blanchard, and they manufactured, I think it was like 5,000 of them or something. So they're going to be using those as the base cart. These are injection molded. These are not 3D printed. And as you can see there's a price range. And basically what the price range is about, do you want autographed cartridge, autographed by the 8-bit guy? I don't know if Paul's autographing them as well, if this is like a double autograph or not. Paul, if you're out there, let us know. The cartridge is by itself, and then the digital download by itself. I will mention, if you order the cartridge, because one, they haven't fully manufactured those yet. It's kind of an upcoming thing. But even if you did order it later when it's immediately available, you get the digital download immediately, so you can start playing the game without waiting for it to come in the mail, which is actually a nice trend to see. I think, Nick, you've done that on your stuff recently too, haven't you, where you don't have to wait for the physical media? And of course, you can get it through PayPal. But now, a nicely designed cartridge here. You can see some screenshots here of it actually up and running. And composite, I believe that is.
Follow us in the chat.
Oh, good. So, Paul, are you autographing these too?
He says
no.
No.
He says he's not. Oh, probably because the price would get too big, right? We'd have to pay $55 or something.
Right.
I do like the fact he has a Quarks mouse pad, though. That's kind of cool. Now, this is something that Paul just posted to the Discord, I think, yesterday or today. So he's already mentioned, and we mentioned publicly last week, that he's working on a CoCo 1 and 2 version as well, and the 8-bit guys mentioned that as well. So he's been playing around with, does he want to use pure colors, like a P-Mode 3 screen with a 128 by 192 resolution with 4 colors? Or do you want to go with artifact colors, which does give you the black and whites and then, the red and blue type thing? Now, the shading on the blue here looks a little bit off than I'm used to seeing on most emulators, but it's probably pretty close to this. And he's kind of like trying to decide which way. I think Alan Murphy had mentioned that he likes the title screen on the P-Mode 4 artifacting colors, but he prefers the gameplay screen on the right-hand side to actually be the P-Mode 3. I was wondering, just a quick survey from the people on the panel, which would you guys prefer for a CoCo 1 and 2 version of this? And I guess you take into consideration the Dragon people will just get the P-Mode 3 anyway, so maybe that weighs into your decision.
I mean, I've got to confess, in the day, I would turn the color knob all the way down on my P-Mode screen so they weren't so glarishly garish in my glasses. So I would go with the
do that all the time over here.
Right.
I mean, personally, because I just love P-Mode 4 artifacting, especially when we discovered that we could do color on it, because originally when I bought the computer, it was just black and white or green and black. I love the artifact look myself. Got so used to it because like 80%, 90% of CoCo games were artifacted. Sorry, Nick. Sorry, Dragon people. So I prefer the P-Mode 4 artifacting myself, but I don't think either of them looked bad.
I think the P-Mode 4 one looks a bit too psychedelic. I think the artifacting one does look a bit more professional. The bottom one looks like there's a color problem with the TV.
Right. Exactly.
You would prefer it in the pastel colors, so it's a bit gentler on the eyes then?
Assuming that, I can get the artifacting, which I don't, not on a PAL CoCo. The artifacting is the one I'd prefer. But
yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say put both and have it user selectable, so the people that have PAL or trying to run on, like, say, a Dragon or an Australian CoCo 1 or 2, you would just use the P mode 3. Yeah.
The problem is that just doing a conversion from one to the other, the colors might be all really psychedelic. Like the black background on the artifacting, if you just convert to P mode 3, that
green.
would be green.
Yeah.
So
no, I think you'd have to have like an alternate version. I don't think you'd be able to just, switch the color
it has
set.
to be a whole alternate version. And then you have to ask, is it really worth all that extra work?
Well, he's already drawn it all, so it's pretty well ready to go, right?
Yeah, drawing's one thing, but got to code it.
Yeah, depending on how the coding's going, like most of the 8-bit guys stuff is kind of pet friendly, so it's like redefinable character sets. So you're dealing with fixed block sizes of 8 by 8. I can't remember what the exact size is.
Yeah.
So it's not too hard to redo the shapes that way.
60 says if the background is black, you'd be fine with P mode 4.
Yeah. And like
I don't know if that's true though, because I mean, maybe the gameplay itself wouldn't be too bad, but like the title screen, you'd be a bunch of vertical stripes every time you see orange or blue, which might get
like Patrick said. PAL people just turn the color down on the TV.
Calm that baby down. Well, I miss that on digital things. You have to go through 17 menus to back the color off a little bit. I just reach over.
Yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, and it's not because I'm not doing the work, but I would probably just include both versions, and the one's PAL friendly and the one's artifact friendly.
Right, it's not like ROMs cost more money nowadays. I mean,
yeah, actually, I should ask that, Paul, since you're in the chat here. Actually, if you want to pop in the show, feel free. But I'm wondering, is the 8-bit guy and you planning on releasing the CoCo 1.2 version on cartridge as well? And is it going to be a fat binary with both versions on, so you buy one cart and you got both? Or how are you guys planning on doing that? 60's mentioning, talking about the artifact vertical stripes thing. He says, yeah, but we're used to that, and they just look like shading and are usually fine. I guess that's true.
Forget, both those artifacting and P mode 3 have also got either a full white border or a full green border. So you got lots of garish colors coming at you.
Yeah, but we got used to that too. I mean, the white border actually for me makes it look like I'm looking at it in a monitor type thing. It almost feels like the bezel or something. So. So Paul answered. He said, "I'm not sure if the CoCo 1.2 will be on cartridge or not." And here's another alternative photo of the actual title screen. This looks more like a natural artifact color, like I would be used to seeing it.
Yeah.
Which is a bit different than this one. Like the colors here are a bit off. I'm not sure if it's a certain emulator or what happened there, or maybe that's the artwork he did on a modern machine, just getting it roughly close. But this is probably what it would look like with real artifacting.
Plus there'll be a big white border around that.
Yeah. Like I said, it looks like you're looking into a viewport. Paul saying he bets it will just be released as a digital download, possibly for free for the CoCo 1.2 version. And Paul, are you going to attempt to do the background music too, using the IRQ that ties into H-Sync and then overflowing it to get half CPU time for the music and slightly less than that for the rest of the game? And then 60 had a question for Paul. Do you know about the beveling? It's a semi-serious question, as the GMC card I got from John isn't. It's a bit of a shove to get it in. For you guys that have Dragons, is the cartridge port a little slightly different size than the CoCo one, or a bit tighter? I know it's on the bottom instead of raised up, so it causes problems with some hardware installs, but like multi-packs. None of you guys have Dragons?
Probably no one.
I haven't looked at my channel for so long, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Paul says yes on the background music. Sorta. It's working now. Anyway, yeah, I myself personally, I'd like, if I was playing on a CoCo in North America, I'd definitely be picking the artifact. But this isn't bad. This looks pretty good. And don't modern TVs in PAL land also run NTSC type stuff now? Isn't it kind of universal? They just automatically switch them.
They do, but the PAL CoCos don't.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So if you plugged it into a TV that does both NTSC and PAL, it still would.
It's
CoCo's still doing PAL.
That's
That's
the
what it
CoCo's
does.
only sending out PAL anyway. If you had an NTSC CoCo, then the TV would show it.
Then you could put it in your TV and it would work. Okay.
Yeah, but if you've got
That's
a
true,
PAL CoCo or PAL Dragon, it'll never get the artifacting. Oh, well,
Yeah. Well, you guys did have a bit of artifacting, but it was different. It
yeah,
was-
well, that's caller.
you'd have to redesign these yet again to get that to look.
Yeah, that was
decent.
just downright ugly. No,
Anyway.
I'd go for artifacting because I think a game like that, what's it called? Quarks.
Yeah.
I think the black background might suit the atmosphere of the game rather than those really bright.
Yeah, and the original columns, I think, did that too, if I remember correctly.
Black.
Yeah.
Yeah. The colors look too fairground showish. It's just.
I'm going to see if I can find. I have columns on my site, which I'll have to update now. Yeah, I can share this. I'll just switch my sharing here. So this is gems. This is the John Strong one, which you can see is very similar. He has definable character sets too. He's got like the gems. He's got dice,
That's
etc.
CoCo
too.
3 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
way
don't
back in
have
the new one.
artifacting on that.
But this is the arcade game it was actually based on, which is not quite black, but it's a really, really dark.
No,
brown.
but it's got more colors. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit higher res and stuff.
And dual screen.
Yeah, I think it was a 6 to 8,000 base game too, if I remember.
Yeah, I don't know, but it could be done on less, but
Yeah. I think the one thing a bit more unique about John's, if I remember correctly, his gems one actually lets you save the high scores to discs, so you can actually compete against yourself, 5 years later type thing. That's a little bit hard to do in a cart unless you want to plug in a tape drive or something or have a multi-pack. Anyway, it looks awesome, Paul. I've actually seen some reviews on Facebook. Some people have actually purchased the cartridge version, which they're waiting for, but you get the digital download immediately. They've been posting it, pictures of them running them on real hardware already. So I know several people have gotten it already. So congratulations. And I don't know if you're getting a cut of the money, if that's more just for the 8-bit guy who came up with, the original working concept, etc. But it looks really good. I really think it's a good game from the looks of it. I haven't had a chance to actually try it yet, but. And then for those who want to download it, if you go to the 8-bits guy's site, and you go to a share or downloads tab. Oh, that's interesting. Screen sharing has failed to start. Please try again later. Now, why would it say that?
is there a video of the Commodore 64 version?
Oh, there we go. I haven't actually taken a look. I'm assuming there probably is.
Just wondering what he's basing it on.
Oh, he said he's not getting it cut, and that's his own choice. And Brian Blake says playing Quarks right now. Awesome game. So if you go to the shareware downloads, this was a bit confusing to a few of us. You go up, it's got a picture of Petsky robots, and then there's a bazillion different ports of it. And EJ and I should finish ours at some point, or maybe I'll just hand off where we left off to Paul and kind of tell him where we were going with it, and maybe he can finish it. Because we did have it basically running, and I know Paul or EJ done some really nice CoCo 3 graphics based in the Amiga version. And we also have the classic Commodore PET version as well.
Is there any videos under the Commodore 64 tab?
I could try. There's also the original
Next
PET
one up.
version.
That one, yeah.
But yeah, if you go to the shareware page, you have to scroll. Oh, I just downloaded something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was a
Only
download. Yeah, it just downloaded.
Yeah, okay. I thought he might have had.
Great, you made me buy it, Nick.
No, you need a pet. You're good.
Anyway, yeah, if you go to the page and you think it's just ASCII Petsky robots, then yeah, scroll down and the Quarks ones are down the bottom here, including the CoCo 3. Next up, of course, is Python, which we just talked about because it's the game of the week for this week, along with the Warrior King that just got added on. But basically, the original one for the CoCo in 1982 by Andrew Siddeley. Jim went and did some further patches to it. So he said it's an update to report because he's ported this once before to the MC10. He's added key sensitivity to allow input before reaching a corner. So I think that's something that, Ken, you guys have talked about in multiple games where sometimes it doesn't quite catch the corner and you kind of miss it, and he's tried to make the control response a little bit better. He's also added some speed optimizations, corrections to note translations he did from the original play commands to the sound command because the MC10 doesn't have a play command. Added a high score feature and added adjusted scoring bonuses to reflect playing at the higher levels. And that's where I don't think you could play this version to be fairly included into the Game On Challenge. I think if you played the previous update that he had done, you'd be fine. But I think the scoring has changed in this one, so I don't know if it'd be the same. To be fair to the people playing the CoCo version. So unless somebody updates the CoCo version to match some of those changes as well. I won't play it here because we already saw it playing. People know what the game looks like. Next after that, we have the Elimist on YouTube, and he did another one of his adventure game speed runs for a CoCo adventure game. And in this case, it's a graphical adventure game called Treasure of the Aztecs, originally written by Scott Cabot, who I think he did this for ComputerWare. This one's not on my site yet because I was trying to find a non-hacked version of it. And funnily enough, he plays a hacked version, but it's a different hack than the one I have. So, yeah, this one has apparently been broken a couple of times, and people, the hackers put in their own little spiel at the beginning of the game here, showing their hacking skills. And yeah, two totally different ones here, but I can't find one that's actually the stock original. Anyway, I'll play a little bit at the beginning here because you can see the title screen I'm talking about. It's a graphical adventure game running in P-Mode 4 artifact colors with the extended colors like the yellows and stuff like that too. So, and it's a fairly large game from what I remember. Like here it says Big Orcs Opera. That's not who made it. At least I don't believe it is. I don't.
Oh, it just says he's presenting it. That means he stole it proudly.
Yeah. I did like this little animation. If I remember correctly, this actually either has some background music on the title screen, or it might have even supported the sound speech card or something. One of Scott's did. I can't remember.
Boy, isn't that fancy? Treasure of the Aztecs.
Oh, here. Pirated by.
Hey, Moon Crew, what's going on? Today, we are playing Treasure of the Aztecs.
And you can faintly hear the four-voice music in the background here while it's doing it too. So he kind of explains about the game, and then it's basically just your standard. It's got animations and stuff, which is kind of cool. And your objects and stuff appear on the screen. So this is the type of animated adventure game that's kind of based on like Sands of Egypt, which was, I think, the first one on the CoCo that did that. It was a Datasoft one that Steve Bjork actually helped on. And, you have like scrolling clouds and raindrops and stuff like that. You can tell that the paint routines are, I think, borrowing the ROM because it's about the same speed as the ROM paint routine is, except it's using that poke that you can do to actually change the background pattern type thing. So you can actually get some different shades. It's a nice little adventure game. And spoiler, if you don't want to learn how the game ends, don't watch it all the way through. Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say, a font I wish someone had invented is one that would fix this artifacting somehow.
Yes, I agree.
So that it doesn't flip colors. Shouldn't there be a way to put random dots in amongst the font so that
make the font thicker?
Yeah,
but if you make it thicker, but then you lose resolution.
It's like you lose resolution, yeah.
But like if you notice in the picture itself, they've used various checkerboard patterns to get different colors. Could you come up with a checkerboard pattern where the font was forced into a background color where it didn't change between blue and orange?
The best way to do that is double pixel it, like do 2 pixels.
Yeah,
side by side, black or white.
But then you lose half of your resolution.
Yeah, like there's some good ones. Like that are 32 columns by say 24 lines, which gives you more lines vertically.
Yeah.
And if you do a 6 pixel wide, you can kind of make that work because I've seen that in OS 9. like the 106 column screen or the 53 column screen, depending whether you're on 320 or 640 resolution. The other way to avoid it was like Sockmaster. I think he did his where he just ran his Adventure Game mouse maze on the green palette set because that kills most of the artifacting. So that's a little bit easier to add too.
So maybe if you change palette sets halfway through the screen,
you could. That's
like
just
that,
the time. Count the H syncs and then just switch it over. Yeah, there's some games that do that.
You'd have a white border in the top half and a green
border in the bottom. Yeah.
Huh.
Which, I mean, if you do it exactly right, like Dragonfire does, that wouldn't look that bad.
It's just this always bothered me, and I never found a way to fix it. And
yeah. The other one is just define a font that is always double pixeled up, and then just treat it like a 4
sacrifice the character number of characters.
But I don't want to do that.
You're gonna have to give something up.
Oh no, I want it all, man. I want it now.
Just get a CoCo 3.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
that worked. Yeah.
That solves it right away. Yeah, because this one here, I'm trying to remember. I think this font he's using here is the 51 by 24 or 21 font. So the 42 version, I think you have the opportunity to double the pixels and still make the font somewhat readable. So it kills the artifacting quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
this is like the 5x8, right? So you don't really have any room to wiggle.
Yeah, this is the last one before it starts becoming unreadable. Yeah, this one you have five pixels per character, including the space between them, which you can kind of see he doesn't have.
Right. Sometimes you just kind of lose that.
Turn the color dial down on the TV.
Right, it helps.
It works every
but
time.
It helps.
Yeah.
The
42 column that you can fit 6 pixels per character. That one you might be able to thicken up and make it less artifacty. Or like Nick said, you keep the horizontal resolution that the standard CoCo is, 8 pixels across. And it gives you a bit more vertical room, so you can still fit more text on the screen than you can on the standard 30 by 16. You can do 32 by 21 or 24. It actually still looks pretty good.
Right. But this was the closest we came to looking as good as an Apple, so I just wanted it to.
Well, there's a lot of adventure games in the Apple that look almost exactly like this, and honestly, they had artifact colors in their text too. I remember playing them.
But they had a better text mode switch where they could put real text at the bottom of the screen and hide all of that.
Yeah, that could.
The Apple would allow 4 lines at the bottom, text with graphics on top.
Yeah, there's a difference between HDR and HDR2.
Yep. Yeah. Well, actually, there's the HDR2 actually just does a poke, and so you can actually unpoke the HDR2 and have text.
Yeah, you can turn that bottom 4 lines on and off.
Yeah, and you can turn the bottom lines on in HDR1 also.
But I will mention, like we had our Apple II Pluses at school hooked up to TVs, and I got the same blue and reds in the characters as we see here. Composite monitor would probably help somewhat.
When the Apple's in just straight text mode, it actually turns off the color burst because it doesn't do any color with the text.
Fix all of this.
Yeah, so that's why the text looks better when it's all text, but then when you're in graphics mode, you get the fringing.
Well, that was my 80 column trick. I had a Magnavox Color TV, and it had a button on the back that said Color Killer. And when you push that button, you can read 80 column text just fine.
Yep.
But when you turned the color back on, it was a blurry mess. So
and to be honest, this is why things like VIP Writer or the VIP Library, for that matter, always use the green screen, because that kills most of the color burst. You'll get a very slight tinge of orange and blue in a greenish hue. But that's why most of those ran that way, because it was way easier to read.
You felt calmer too, the green.
The calming green, yes.
Scientifically proven to be soothing.
Well, we're trying to help people with our show background,
Yeah. Which answers the question, of course, that Daniel Kaker has been asking in the chat. Forgive my ignorance, but why was CoCo green screen green? It was to calm. No, I'm just kidding. That was discovered much later, but that was just the color set mode that Motorola chose for the 6847, which is a couple years older than the CoCo.
We'll have to go with the old Donald Rumsfeld quote: "You fight with the army you got." They could only do certain divisions off of the color burst inexpensively, and these are the colors you got with those divisions of time. And
Yeah, and I
good
think the
luck with all
Motorola
that.
documentation 6847, I don't think they ever claimed it had color artifacting, did it? I think it just said
No,
those
that just
modes are just
snuck
black and
in.
white.
But as
Yeah.
far as the real colors are, they got the ones that you can easily divide from a master clock. So it was really hard to say, okay, I want to shade that a little more brown. Well, no, you can't, because it's divided by a number, and this is the color that gives you.
Well, the Apple II gets around that by changing the phase, and you can get 2 more colors.
Okay.
Yeah, green and purple.
Wozniak very much abused the NTSC standard.
Yeah, no, he did.
As did we all.
Yeah. Actually, 60's got a good comment here about that too. He says, yeah, and as discussed a few times, televisions are supposed to color kill if the burst is missing, but in time they stop bothering, always assuming there was some color around.
Right.
And just removing the burst won't work for your apples either, television depending. And of course, the CoCo3 gaming chip has an option to shut the color burst off as well. Wow, that was a big discussion on technical stuff there for a game. That's interesting.
Right, right. What have we done wrong?
Where it let us.
Well, that's just us normally. We're all over the darn place.
You fight with the army you got.
Next up, we have ZX Frankie on YouTube, who did another high score attempt video. This time he's playing the Dragon 32 version of Android Attack, which is actually in P-Mode 3, the original CoCo version by Spectral Associates, which was originally called Robot Battle until Tandy's Robot Battle came out and had to change the name in a sudden hurry. Basically a clone, well, not clone, it's kind of a derivative of Berserk because it adds a few things. You can jump and duck, which you can't do in the original Berserk. You also have little treasures you have to pick up, and when you kill the robots, they turn into a pile of pulsating radioactive mass, and eventually they turn to a ghost, which can go through walls. So there's a few bits that are quite a bit different. But this is in P-Mode 3, I think the pastel color set too. So
Yeah, it's a white.
Yeah, he's got kind of a greenish tinge, but I think that's just the camera picking up.
That's the TV. Yeah.
Just what we're talking about. TVs can't get their colors straight. And actually, it doesn't look bad in this color set, to be honest. I still prefer the artifacting, but hey, that's a pretty good score, I think, for Android Attack. And Ken, have we played that one already? I think we have. Because this is one of the earliest talking games on the CoCo 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think we did.
I do remember when Spectre released this, they released a 16K version and a 32K version. You got both. The 16K version removed all the voices. And the 32K version, that was just digital samples to go coward, because it was kind of a lower frequency resolution. So it lisped because it couldn't get the sharper sounds there. So it's kind of funny. It sounds like Elmer Fudd is, the robot. It's quite funny. Next up in this, Ken, is your next brand new game that just got released this week. In fact, the CoCo versions just came out this morning. And that's the next Inafito game called AWASS. Is that AWAS? Or I don't know how to pronounce it. But there's a whole bunch of them downloaded, and they're updating as they go here, just like they normally do. They started releasing these on New Year's Day, as you can see on here, for some of the other platforms like the MSX, the PC6001, which also has a VDG. And then they've been just releasing them constantly. So once again, the web links for these will be in the show notes on the CoCo Discord. But if you go here, these are all free downloads. If you have any of these machines or any emulators that handles machines, you want to try them all out, feel free. The first one we released was actually the MC10 a few days ago. And this one here. And he's doing all of his recordings now, I think, on the real hardware on, composite or RF. So it's a little bit, fuzzy. If you're playing an emulator, you get a much cleaner screen. I'll play a little bit of the MC10 version here first, which is the first version I saw. Now, this one, we've seen this kind of a game before. It's a platform, as you can see. There's ladders you have to climb up and down. There's flags to pick up. You got little monsters that are coming after you and stuff. The difference on this one compared to the other ones, it doesn't scroll the screen, but some of the platforms, I think when you get certain shapes, the platforms will move over and scroll, which is kind of a different gameplay mechanic for this. Now, Ron, you actually have an MC10. Is the screen RF this bad normally?
No, it's all variable. Depends on the stuff you use.
Okay.
If you have a Vizio monitor, it's a TV, and you plug it in on the RF in, works good.
Yeah. So there you can see there's certain places where he's shifting the platform he's on. The whole thing shifts over. So I haven't actually tried it yet to see how the mechanic actually works, but that's another different thing. Otherwise, the sound routines are basically the same as he always uses. The shapes, these are common shapes he's used in some of his other games as well. So that's the MC10 version. This is the CoCo 1 and 2 version. Slightly higher res, doubles the vertical resolution to 128 by 192 versus by 96 of the MC10. And keyboard controls.
Not sure about this whole California shaking ground thing, though.
And then the CoCo 3 version, which of course is a lot more colors. Now, if I remember correctly, he hasn't learned yet that RGB and composite are completely different things. So everything he's programming in is for composite. If he actually programmed it for RGB, you could get some much crisper screen, obviously, on a CM8 or Magnavox or whatever. And also, he always makes it for cassette. So I guess I have to download these and patch it to make the little bootloader to upload it to the archive so that people can pick which one they want to do and have it load off disk. So there's a couple suggestions for you, Ken.
Nice.
And I think the indie feudal games, usually when we do have those in the Game on Challenge, I think they're usually pretty popular. And then lastly, this is kind of an interesting historical artifact. I have not had a chance to look at this yet, but on the World of Dragon forums, I guess one of the people that inherited a lot of the stuff from Dragon Data actually found out that Megapede, which was not a centipede clone. They call it a centipede clone here, but actually it's a there's a Millipede was the sequel to Centipede in the arcade, because it had a bunch of other shapes and stuff, a bunch of other opponents compared to Centipede. Is a clone of that, but it's originally sold by Computerware. Now, Dragon Data and Microdeal both would sell a lot of the games that came over from the North American market from various companies, from Spectral, from Computerware, Atomics, whoever it was. And then they'd add in their own little loader screens for themselves. And of course, maybe, put some instructions on screen, some other things to change it to run in PAL. But this apparently was one that had gotten done, like the intro screens and stuff are finished, but it never got released before Dragon Data went under, I'm guessing. So this is an actual unreleased version of Megapede. It's not just a straight port of the CoCo one. This is the one that was meant to be sold for the Dragon with the extra screens and stuff added. So I haven't had, like I said, have a chance to try it myself. It'd be interesting to see what these extra screens are. I might have to start adding alternate Dragon screens on some of the stuff on my game's webpage, because I kind of forgot about the difference, because the gameplay is usually pretty well identical. Anyway, it's a free download up here, released. This is actually a CAS file, so it's not a huge download. Also free, so that's Quarks and In Your Feudal's game and this Megapede version of the Dragon are all free. So there's a bunch of new game releases here for Dragons and CoCos this week, which is kind of cool. And that's it for the Game On news. So I'll switch over to the regular news now. Have my notes catch up. Okay, you guys should see 3 different circuit boards sitting there. If I click the right window.
We do.
Yep, seems to be.
Okay, so Julian Brown posted a photo of 3 generations of a CPLD-based VDG board. And of course, you can tell by the number of pins there, this is meant for his project where you're basically having a back plane and you can put in like CPU cards and video cards and sound cards and IO cards of various types. And this is, he's been kind of going through and trying to get it. He wants to get one board that does both NTSC and PAL, handles the artifacting under NTSC. And you can kind of see his progress. He shrunk the board, like the top one's obviously a fair bit bigger and wider than the little ones at the bottom. And he said the new one just needs a JTAG header so I can get back to developing the HDL code. So he's been making progress on that.
Nice. You know you're getting advanced when you have to twist the chip at a 45-degree angle to get more fan out. That tells you you're...
Does the new auto routing software stuff got to do that on its own, though, or is that something you have to consciously do?
No, what you do by twisting it 45 degrees, you can come out, say, 1/8 of an inch at right angles from the chip. And then that puts all of your sideways, your horizontal and vertical lines a little bit further apart. So you do that yourself, and then the auto router will follow your lead. But you have to say, okay, we're going to do this.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one of the last things you do. I need a little more space. We're going to crank this sideways, and this is really going to make it hard to solder, and we're never going to be able to fix this by hand. But by golly, we can get that chip in.
So next up for the Dragon, there's a couple of announcements from John Whitworth, who runs Dragon Plus Electronics, and that's the website we're showing here. So the first page that he's added is called Spares. And these are spare parts for the Dragons, including RAM, CPUs, VDGs, and anything else that he's got in stock at the time. So if you need to fix your Dragon or you need some replacement parts, this includes stuff like the power switch, the reset switch, the feet, the bumper feet there, because of that sometimes the glue comes off and they go missing and then it kind of like wobbles around. He's got like a cat recap kit for it as well. PIAs he's got here, video modulator chips, SAMs, et cetera, et cetera. So he's got a fair number of these parts. And of course, this will depend on how many he's got in stock, et cetera, whatever he's managed to pilfer, maybe from other Dragons or other CoCos, or maybe from other machines that use some of these chips as well. And then, of course, some of the parts for like the feet and stuff like that. So I do know we have places you can get replacement chips and stuff. Do we have replacement for stuff like the CoCo feet? Because I have 1 or 2 CoCos here that are missing feet too, and I don't know, is that something that anybody's selling as a fix or spare parts that you can actually fix it?
I don't have real ones. I'd stick stockish 3M feet on the bottom. But,
okay, are they about the right height then?
Yeah, I mean, they're close enough that the multi-pack still plugs in. So I think that's what his 4 gray bumper feet probably are similar. It's
well, the fact he's selling a set of 4, I'm guessing he's like, just take them all off. These will all match.
Well, and there's kind of an industry standard heights for feet. So you can get ones that are the same height as the rubber things that were on the CoCo, even though they aren't the same thing that was on the CoCo. So I'm sure that's what he's done. He's found the right height to make your side accoutrements all slide in.
Yeah. Like I do know the cartridge port on the Dragon is like right flush with the bottom, basically. Which is why if you put a multi-pack, you have to like lift the Dragon up or it's going to be at a weird angle, which is dangerous.
Oh, let's stick more feet on the bottom of your feet. There you go.
So that was the first part. The next part is he's got an updated version of his lowercase board now ready for purchase. He's got a picture of it here on his Facebook post, and it's got a video which I'll show you shortly, and it's on sale now. And this replaces an earlier version of the lowercase kit. Now, of course, the CoCo had lowercase kits from Dennis Kits and a bunch of others here, where it basically was just a ROM that you attach to the VDG, and you tap it off one pin, I think it is, that tells you to use the ROM instead of the one that's built into the chip. And of course, it had lowercase, true lowercase, and custom fonts you could do. The nice thing about this one is you got this little rotary switch, which you can see here on the picture. And he's got basically 16 fonts that are built into the thing, and you just switch the rotary switch as to which one you want. So you not only have true lowercase and inverse lowercase, but you have some alternate character sets with European characters and a bunch of other things too. So it's almost like getting up to CoCo VGA levels without cheating, quote unquote, and using like a CPLD or something or an FPGA to, completely redo everything from scratch with modern stuff like redefinable character sets. But it gives you some pretty good options.
And the best thing is it's still all basically text. It's all in hardware, so there's no speed.
It runs full speed. Right. So anyway, if you want that, here's the actual order page for it: £27.50 and $29.95. I don't know what the difference is between those. So basically, the board is supplied with an additional 40-pin DIL socket to solder into the location originally occupied by the 6847, the VDG. Please note the 64847 is not supplied, so it's basically just a ROM thing. You still need the VDG chip. And he has them in spare parts if you want to order some.
So you have to pull your old one out. He gives you the socket to put it in its place, and then you just put it all back together. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Anyway, let's just watch the video where he actually is talking on it. So this one. So you guys can kind of get an idea of what the fonts are and then how it works.
Okay,
I'll just play it in its
this is going
entirety.
to be a quick demo of the new lowercase boards that are now ready.
Is it loud enough?
we're starting at character set 0 as we go through.
I kind of like that
character
monitor.
sets will be the same, but that's because the character set in the other half of the character ROM is set up for the Dragon 200E ROM, so you won't see it on this computer. But anyway, it's character set 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that's the Dragon 200 set, and it's identical to number 9, like I say, but there's differences in the other half of the ROM. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and this CGA ROM is set up in the same way as the Dragon 200 one. In that 13 is the same, but there's differences in the second half of the ROM. So 13, 14, and 15. And these are all really simple to change now. They're beautifully simple, easy to change.
Right.
Rotary X switch. And that's using a perhaps a 2mm screwdriver to do that. And the board itself is sitting underneath one of the Super RGB boards. But it could just as easily be sitting underneath just a 6847 on its own, so this would work with composite output as well. That's it for now.
So yeah, I like the fact that he was actually like turning this and switching his font ROMs live while the machine's on.
Right, and it didn't explode, and you aren't switching 8 little dip switches in a
Yeah.
in a row.
And remember, we were just talking about, you know, doubling up pixels here to get like nice clear characters out in the artifact.
here
And
you
that's
go,
kind of
yeah.
the CJ font he's talking about, because that is the pre-bolded and with true lowercase. And you still have your semi-graphics, so that's a nice font to pick from.
Like code pages for your dragon.
Yeah, except you have to tell the guy, take your screwdriver and turn it to F.
Right.
Okay, you're in this part of the game, turn it to D now. Like, this is an interesting one here because it's got the inverted stuff bolded, and then the other stuff is just, it's got
not.
serifs and stuff, but it's a thinner version. So he's got some pretty interesting combos in here. And this is a pre-bolded one with a bunch of the European characters here, and even some sort of almost graphical shapes to use. There's some pretty cool ones on here. He's got some static screenshots on his order page too, if you wanted to check it out there. I think the only thing I've seen beyond this would be the CoCo VGA, where you can redefine them. And plus, you also get the option of doubling the width and height of your screen to give you 64 by 32 characters, which actually technically gives you more text on the screen than the 80 by 28 mode on a CoCo 3 does. So if you're coding, that's a pretty cool one to run on. And he's got a few little things in this particular font here I can see that you could probably use for little game missiles and stuff. If you're creative.
All right.
Next about that, we have a YouTube channel called Pieces of 8-Bit, which obviously covers, you know, going back into retro 8-bit stuff, but does a special episode here called Nostalgia Unlocked, where he talks a bit about the history of video games itself. I think he's talking more of the commercial and the first, you know, quote unquote proper game. So he talks about Space War, which of course was originally on a PDP, was it a PDP 1 or 8 or something way back in 61?
PDP 1.
There are some earlier ones than that kind of get jostled around. There's a tennis game from 1958 by the guy that found or did the Odyssey. What the heck is his name? Ralph something, I think.
Bear.
Yeah. Because he basically had that as a demo at one of the university things, and people could actually play an oscilloscope and bat the ball back and forth over a tennis net in the middle. Not really scoring, so it's not quite a game yet, but you know, a few years before Space War.
Well, that was the original, like the Atari chasing the beam. That's what he was doing on an oscilloscope.
Yeah.
Instead of a
Except he was doing it 10
television,
years before Atari, and of course,
Yeah.
they kind of proved later on that the like when the Odyssey 1 came out, it was mostly Pong style games with a pretty weird controller. But Nolan Bushnell actually attended one of the demos, signed the guest book, and then Pong came out from him like not long later. So
I just find these games interesting where you didn't have video RAM to write to, and you just had to throw your signal out at the right time for the display and make it work somehow. And you know, his Oscilloscope Pong and Atari, they kind of did the same thing. Those guys were heroes. Just, I'm going to make video without a video screen. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah, or even on the Atari 2600 where you have to program, changing colors and pixels and stuff per scan line because you don't have RAM to actually render a screen.
Well, the same thing the oscilloscope guy was doing. You time your pulse, you put it out, and you're done. You don't store it somewhere. You have to time it. You just have to. Okay, it's time to send this. The scan line is in the middle. I need to send this now, and that's just astounding to me.
Yeah. Anyway, it's got a pretty good intro, like of the first video game stuff. Then his first video games he ever experienced himself, and then his first home computer, which in his case happened to be a Dragon 32, which he talks about in a little clip I'll play here. And he does hint in this that that's what kind of set him off into programming, which is actually his job, which I think is a fairly common thing for CoCo and Dragon people. I think a lot more percentage of us wise compared to Commodore 64 or anything else that was more game oriented. We tended, because we didn't have the high end sound chip and whatever else. You could play some decent games in both, obviously, the Dragon and the CoCo, but we tended to go towards the programming side, I think, a little bit more than some of the other platforms.
All right.
So I'll play the clip here, but actually, he's got a pretty interesting history of going through some of this stuff. He goes through his first game console, including Advanced Dragons in television. You can see on the screenshot there, but I'll just let him talk a little bit about the Dragon history. You can watch the rest of the video. Once again, the link is in the show notes on the CoCo Discord.
Third route was a computer that I had as a kid in the mid-80s, a second-hand computer that my parents bought for me, and it was called a Dragon 32. Now, I'd never heard of it. I remember seeing it on Christmas Day, and my dad set it up in the kitchen, and he wrote a little program to make the screen flash and say Happy Christmas on it. And most of my friends and people that I knew either had an early console, so they might have had a 2600 or an Intellivision. A lot of them had Spectrums, ZX Spectrum or Commodore 64. So I got this Dragon 32. I'd never heard of it before. And actually, it's a little bit of a historical route into my career, in fact, as getting into software development, because the tape drive on it only worked for a short period of time. The electronics were very expensive to replace in the 80s. And so I had to write little programs on it from the book myself. But there were times that I did play on it. I was able to get games to work, and there was a game called Bonker, which is the only game that I really do remember from it. There was another game on there, and I cannot for the life of me remember.
This is a Space Panic style game.
Adventure game. Can't find it. Can't remember what it was. And this little game called Bonker, and you used to sort of go up. It was a little platformer thing, and you'd go up these little ladders and dig a hole in the ground, and there'd be these little alien things. They'd fall into it, and then you'd have to go and kind of fill the ground back in after them. It was a very, very simple game. It was quite addictive. I could only ever get it to work every now and again, and eventually I could never get it to work at all. But that was a very early memory for me at home, playing on the Dragon 32, which was a British-made piece of equipment based on a lot of similar technology to some of its competitors at the time. But yeah, sadly, Dragon computers no longer around. Yeah, bit of a shame that, but it was an interesting machine. There's a lot of love for it out there, actually, still, but I've not seen one for many, many years. So, yeah, that was my early home computing experience.
Anyway, his whole video is kind of along that lines, going through his early console experience and arcade experience, and some of the history of video games itself. So it's actually a pretty good video. I would recommend watching the whole thing. I just highlighted the Dragon part there.
But it was Welsh. It wasn't British. Get your facts straight.
Well, Wales is part of the UK, so I guess it's United Kingdomish.
Well, it's United Kingdomish, but it's not British.
Sinclair was British.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sir
Clive.
Sir Clive was a Brit. Yeah. Oh, well. Never mind.
Next after that, I kind of announced this last week, but this is actually happening tonight. And that's the next TRS-80 Trash Talk show, which covers the entire TRS-80 line and Tandy 1000s and everything else. They're kind of the guys behind Tandy Assembly, too. But it will be streamed and recorded live tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you go to their page on YouTube, I don't believe they simulcast on Twitch like we do, but you can definitely try to send some questions to the chat. Sometimes they check it. But you can also, there's an open invite now. They're getting a bit more open with getting people on as guests. So there's a post in their group on Facebook that you can just DM them and they'll give you the Zoom credentials to get onto the call.
They also
this
have
will be
a
a good
channel
opportunity
on
for
the Tandy Discord. They have a channel on the Tandy Discord as well with the
yeah.
Zoom
They also have their own
credentials.
Discord too. So, Yeah, but I would suggest Paul Shoemaker, if you're available tonight, maybe pop onto that and you can announce Quark's coming out for the CoCo 3 and then the CoCo 1.2 version in development. I think it would be of interest to some of them as well, because I'm pretty sure they're familiar with the 8-bit guy too. I will mention that their show is generally a bit more tech heavy than ours. I mean, we sometimes go into the weeds like we will be next week, right, Mark?
Yes, we will.
But
Here's some weeds.
Yeah, we tend to be try to be a bit more user friendly versus just developer tech friendly. They tend to go hardcore tech. What's that?
A general, this show is a general category, general purpose. We cover everything. We try not to go too deep.
Yeah. We cover the games, we cover the tech stuff, we cover the hardware, we cover the software, we cover the programming.
I want to point out some esoteric, which isn't CoCo related, but see the door over the cable leading out of that expansion interface? That is very much like the door on a CM8. Nobody has one. they have went away long ago.
So you're saying this is an AI generated photo?
It could be, because that door popped off the first time you moved your Model 1 and it fell on the ground and it disappeared and you don't have it anymore.
I thought that picture was from my collection because it had a telescope in the background. If you look at
the
it.
main masthead one?
Yeah, you see it? There's a Meade telescope in the top right corner.
Oh, top right corner?
Mm-hmm. You just click on it.
It's clip.
Yeah, just click on it.
I'm
Picture will
clicking,
come
it's
up.
not doing anything.
Nothing?
Nope.
Huh. Okay, well.
Anyway, tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're wanting to get some more, they usually do discuss some CoCo stuff on there. Some of the hardware developers there that are primarily TRS-80 Model 1, 2, 3, 12, 16, 4, 4P, etc. do some CoCo stuff. So and TJBChris, for example, who's actually, as we talked in the show at the very beginning there, is working on a video for showing the Tandy hard drive adapter to hook up to their Tandy primary drives, which some of the developers like Steve Bjork did use back in the mid-80s when that came out. So he's planning on doing a video of that, and he's done some other videos like, booting OS 9 from cassette. That was an awesome one.
I mean, I wonder, did Tandy release the CoCo drive adapter because the developers needed it?
I think it was a combination of that, and they already had a drive interface the new works. They didn't have to do any engineering; just had to do the adapter part of it.
Right.
Kind of like
we need to get our
logic.
developers. But were they expecting CoCo users to need a hard drive, or were they just expecting CoCo developers to need a hard drive? And since
I think with OS 9 level 2,
or
sorry, OS 9 level 1 version 2, where they started, allowing bigger floppy drives and then the hard drives as well. I think it was meant to be supportive of OS 9 and for the developers, I would guess. Spectral Associates did all of their development under OS 9. Even their disk basic games were all ran or programmed on the under OS 9. Yeah. As we discovered when we got that Spectral Associates drive, I've got source code for all kinds of stuff in there. Still have to go through and see what's complete and what's not. But yeah, even cartridge games they were writing were all done under OS 9 because the assembly tools were so much better there than
it is kind of funny to think of the CoCo as the best editing solution.
Yeah, with the 32
but at the time, it probably was. I mean, I want to edit Deck B. OS 9 is probably the best solution I have.
And the fact that it was device descriptor and driver driven. I mean, Spectral, we've seen their scripts for building stuff. They had an 80-column WordPad card in there. So all their development was being done either on that or on terminals with 80 columns. So they were using full 80-column stuff. They're using screen editors and stuff that supported 80 columns. So basically, it was almost like having a multi-user development system, like a Gimmicks, except way, way, way cheaper.
Well, right, and they have their CPU emulation, right? Because they're using the CPU.
Yeah,
I like it.
Next up after that, we have I think this is actually a podcast called Old Players. And this is a Brazilian podcast. Of course, there's a fairly strong CoCo and CoCo related community because there's a whole bunch of clones that were done in Brazil. CP400, CP402, Codemex, a bunch of other ones too. This is actually talking about some newer stuff coming out. And I'm going to play a couple different parts of it here. And it's going to have to auto-translate because, of course, they're speaking in Brazilian Portuguese. But this actually does have some people that we've actually heard about in the CoCo community before. We've had them on the show before. So Luis, I'm going to probably butcher names. My apologies. Luis Pacheco and Mauricio Mate. They're doing a multi-platform drive replacement using Gotex or real drives, and they are hooking up to different machines. Like this is a cross-platform. So the Apple II, which is what they showed at the beginning, the CP400 is actually the one I'll be showing you here right away. There's also a new version of basically adapting the CoCo disc controller to fit into that little side door that the CP400 has, which is much narrower and doesn't have room for the case. So it's more of a long, narrow cartridge versus a fat, wide, or a short, wide one like we have on the CoCo and the Dragon. So it's pretty interesting seeing that. And then you actually get a little bit of a review talking about it here from Luciana Sharp, who we've had on the show before, and actually has done some live streaming from the Brazilian show, the retro show that we've covered a couple times. So there's a couple of clips here I'm going to play to cover it. But if you want the whole history of the project and where they're going with and some other things they're planning for, watch the whole video. It's actually very, very interesting. And I'm going to have the sound a bit lower than normal here, but just read the text on the top.
Bacana. Muito legal, muito legal. E já carregou lá o Ghostbusters.
Isso aí. E aqui a gente tem o... que eu acho que é o projeto, um dos projetos mais lindos do Pacheco, que é essa réplica aqui, né, da unidade de discos do CP400.
Aí já é um pouquinho menor, já. Em uma escala menor, né?
Ela aqui é a original, e aí ele fez...
So the CP400, if you remember seeing some of the brochures we've showed, actually did have a dual drive system that they sold for it. And they're kind of duplicating the look and feel of it here. And this one here is using Gotex and stuff, and this is one that's using physical drives.
So 5 1/4 on the right and 3 1/2 on the left.
Yeah, 3 1/2, real 3 1/2, and a Gotex.
And a Gotex.
Sempre essa,
Nice.
que é o xodó, né, dos colecionadores aí.
That monitors colors.
Sobre
Perfect.
a unidade. Então ela foi calculada, inclusive...
Yeah, because they had 60 hertz PAL. Isn't that the Brazilian TV system? It's kind of a hybrid.
Segurar o
Strange,
peso,
yes.
exatamente.
Yeah.
VDG, Pacheco? Ou
PLA.
Hã?
Tudo PLA.
PLA. Bacana.
So I want to show that part first, where he kind of goes over the drives themselves. And then the second part, and I kind of put them in different tabs just so I can find them faster. Now he's going to show you the floppy drive controller they adapted to fit into the cartridge slot, because it's, I mean, it's pin compatible with the CoCo, but you can't physically fit any of our boards in there because of the narrow design versus the wide design.
Ok.
Que é essa, é a CoCo MFDC, que é uma placa que foi pensada justamente porque não se conseguia ter uma controladora no slot do CP400. Então tá aqui a placa feita pelo Truco. Tá, para usar no CP400. Isso aqui é fundamental porque todo Gotec tem que ter uma controladora.
Tá, então eu posso usar o Gotec ou um drive real.
Com a placa CoCo MFDC, pode usar um drive normal ou o Gotec.
Ok.
Ele serve para uma controladora normal, feita para o slot do CP400. E agora está em andamento, quase finalizando a MFDC Spec, que é do Spectrum, que é uma beta 48, beta 128.
They talk about some of the other ones that are coming up too. Like this is generally going to be a cross-platform solution that's working on here. They got people that do the 3D printing for the cases that you saw, people designing the hardware to do the adaptation, etc. too. And then
So
the
his
last part. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say his disk controller is real because I can see the 7406, 7416, whatever, 2 driver chips.
And the ROM.
Well, the ROM, but then they have the 2 driver chips to feed out of the floppy cable, so you can explode those 2 chips, replace them as necessary. So I know it's a good floppy drive card because it's got the protections. I mean, you could run to a Gotec without using those, but if you run to a real floppy drive, you need the driver chips to up the impedance and do other various strange things.
By the way, I made that comment about TJBChris earlier about when he did the one video where he actually made OS9 boot from cassette. He just did a comment. He said, I was thinking of OS9 cassette the other day. That was the single most fun and most pointless thing I ever did.
Someone had to do it, and by golly, he did it.
And next up after that, we actually have Luciano Sharp, who came on to the show as well. They had quite a few guests on the show. And in this case, he's basically kind of reviewing what he thinks of it. And with the CP400 version in Pacific, of course. And you can see their artifacting does kind of work. That looks pretty much like ours. Is that just a 60 hertz versus 50 hertz? Even though it's PAL? Or maybe he's got some adapter there too, maybe, I don't know. Oh, I forgot to turn on the closed captioning on this one. Sorry about that. And there's a couple different versions of these, a 400, there's a 450, etc.
Parte dos usuários CP400. Quem lembra com nostalgia do design modular do CP400 e da CP450 em conjunto, a sensação de um micro profissional, e foram impedidos na época pelo alto custo ou pela disponibilidade, né? Hoje mesmo, até,
and a common problem, I mean, buying the drives back then was more expensive than a computer.
Right.
And if you want to get a hard drive, well, then you're talking like 10 to 20 times more expensive.
10 computers, yeah.
Yeah.
Ele permite reviver essa nostalgia de uma forma mais segura e livre de erros através de
And you can see there, he's actually got a GoTech running on part of it himself.
mídias físicas em discos 3,5 polegadas, mais fácil encontrar.
Now, I will mention his screen is flipped sideways. You can see his Axon's actually playing backwards, and the text is backwards. So,
além de ser utilizado com qualquer interface ou color computer importado ou nacional, ser utilizado inclusive em outras plataformas, com a mesma versatilidade dos mais gotecosos.
so I'm guessing when they have the next retro show in Brazil that we've covered the last couple of years here, where some other people from the community like Mauricio, Erico, a bunch of others are there, that they maybe would be demonstrating these. We can actually get some live questions and answers if any of you guys have any questions about it. But really cool. I mean, they're a very active community too. I mean, aside from the CoCo and Dragon, I think they're one of the most active 6809 based, except maybe the Vectrix or something like that too, but 609 based retro groups. And there's quite a few there, them in there. They buy CoCo SDCs and stuff. They have got CoCo 3s down there. I don't think it was sold there. I do know that Microware at one point was actually working with Tandy on doing a Spanish version of the ROM, like the upgraded ROM they did for the CoCo 3. So there was some plans on selling it in other countries. I don't know if that was meant for Spain, because that's where Eurohard was trying to, use the Dragons, and maybe a CoCo 3 might have been a good upgrade for people that had gotten the Dragon 200s, etc. from Spain, or if that was maybe meant for the Latin American market or what it was meant for. But there definitely was some plans in writing about that. So, and then speaking of Brazil, this is the group on Facebook, Clube Color Brasil, which is basically for all the people that use all the CoCo clones. And you'll see some familiar people there, like Mauricio Mate wrote this post here. And he's selling a new model multi-pack 3024. See some more in here.
Sweet.
He says, I only have one available, comes with font and 3D case. And this looks like a duplicate of the original multi-pack from what I can tell. Except down here, he shows it's in an Ed Snyder style case, except with some lights and stuff on it. So.
Oh, and he's even got the slot switch. Nice.
Yeah. So I think it's possibly a shrunk version of it, kind of like Ed Snyder's, except with all the extra stuff like 16550 serial ports and sound chips and all that kind of thing. Now he mentions here he only has one with the case, etc. here to ship. I don't know if he's planning on doing any others here, but that would be kind of nice, because I mean, there's a few people that are just starting to make multi-pack clones again. Ed's Mega Mini is really hard to get. His minis he does sell every once in a while. I do a batch of like half a dozen, and then sold out in like 2 days. And Richard Lubieski, of course, has got his new multi-pack, which has a few improvements to the original Tandy one, which I don't know if this includes or not.
But this is a nice take because it has all dip chips that you can buy. There's no CPLD. There's nothing fancy. There's the one PAL that is, I'm sure, the same as the one that goes in every Tandy MPI that was ever made. So this should be ultimately repairable, reproducible. You don't need to know anything about this device other than what the Tandy device was like. It's all the same chips.
Yeah.
I like it. That's really an effective
solution. Simple and effective.
Now, is that basically what Richard's doing, or is he using more modern chips for his version?
Yeah, all of the other ones add stuff, which means the original design doesn't mean anything. And if you can't get the little complex chip that they base it on, you're kind of messed up.
Because I know he was talking about doing some of the things to fix some of the, I would call them flaws in the original design, like, having to select the cartridge slot to let an IRQ in.
Right, right. But when you start fixing it, that means that the original knowledge might not apply anymore. Where this is a multi-pack.
I know on Noah's
like
side,
any other
we
multi-pack.
strapped lines to get the RQ to work right, because that
Yeah,
was
you can
such a
hack
pain
it.
in the
Well, you
ass.
could hack this one too. If it doesn't have the RQ strap, then you could just solder pin 8s together on the bottom, just like, so all the old knowledge still works. It's
The
all
thing is that you could put in the lines to strap the IRQ line, but not actually leave them active. So, in all intents and purposes, it is the original MPI. It just
the Mega Mini does
to...
that. It's a software feature to turn the strapping function on or off.
Oh, okay.
Right, but if the magic chip dies in your Mega Mini, you're done.
Well, no, actually, probably not, because the Mega Mini is using more modern chips you can still get.
Well, it's a surface.
But mind you,
mount
it's got a ton of other
that's-
stuff like 16550s and OPL3 chips, and
you've got surface mount chips and all this other stuff. Where here, this is all dip chips and sockets.
yeah, this is definitely more
You know?
hobbyist oriented. Like you could definitely fix this on your own pretty easily without having special equipment or access to it.
And without knowing anything about this product, if you knew what a Tandy multi-pack was like from all of the published stuff about Tandy multi-packs, you can fix this one. You don't need to know anything about this one itself if you know how the Tandy one works.
Yeah,
it's the same chips. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, this is like, from what I can tell, this is a shrunk version of the Tandy
of the real one. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this looks very much like Ed's design, very narrow. Except I don't think Ed's has. Let me take a look at mine here. Yeah, there's a screw on the front. But there's no LED, and this little slot selector switch here is on the side of his. So it's not quite the same design, though it's pretty close. His edge here on this side here is a bit thicker too. So actually, this is a little bit smaller than Ed's Mega Mini. Anyway, I'm hoping if he catches this, or one of the other people in Brazil catch our show, maybe ask him, like, is this something they plan on selling? Because that would be pretty cool to have another alternative to get multi-packs. Because the original Tandy ones are hard to find, especially working.
And getting harder, exactly.
Yeah.
And the new ones are all bad because they have the chip you can't fix. So this is the one circuit that can still be fixed. And probably
possibly Richards. I don't know enough about Richards because I haven't talked to him since we first did the feature creep on him.
As far as I know, it's still going to be based on basically the original design, so it's simple, straightforward, and maintainable.
Well, but then you need that one chip, and if you have to program that chip, can you program it? I can't.
Well, does he have a special chip in there, Mark? Or is he following the original Tandy spec one? I'm not sure.
What I remember is when I was reading his website on it. So let me see if I can find that page here.
It's some PLD. And
yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't actually followed it too closely since we originally had him on, just to feature creep.
An MPI.
You want me to stop sharing so you can share his screen if he's got some info on there?
Schematics, Gerber's bomb will be available for download. Based on the Radio Shack 26-30 24 MPI. Some components were changed for space requirements. The 74 LS 367s were replaced with 74 HCT 51s. 4 slots with a slot selector switch, power LED switch, and gold edge connectors. No real-time clock.
What?
Lost the sale.
So what's the logic behind it? What's the logic chip in it?
It's based on the 26324.
Probably as a PAL.
Well, yeah, it's probably a PAL that
PAL
could be
or a gal,
programmed, but if you have a programmer and stuff. Okay,
It still
that's
has
cool.
It has that problem that the original Tandy one has. All the cartridges are upside down and back to front.
Right. Although if you look at like the CoCo SDC was designed to be plugged in upside down and back to front so that the SD is facing you when you put the SD card in. So
yeah, we'll have to have Richard on. Is he selling them yet, Mark, or is he?
I don't know. It says targeted for February 26th. He is going to do a slot on next week on the
oh, so we can get updates
cool.
then.
So we can
yeah,
find
exactly.
out. Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
He's also flexible. He said he'll do whatever. Give him 35, 40 minutes. He'll be good.
Brian Blake is mentioning the chat too. He says there's a seller on eBay selling a similar unit, had 3 up this week. So somebody else is actively manufacturing these.
Nice.
And just to follow up on the PAL-M thing, 60 says the PAL-M's color subcarrier is the same, i.e. an exact relationship to the pixel clock. So they still get artifacts, but PAL fun too. I don't know if the PAL fun part is sarcastic or not. And Brian mentions all three of those that were put up this week have all sold.
Oh, so in PAL in Brazil, could you get vertical and horizontal artifacting?
Yeah, because we have NTC was normally horizontal based, and then the straight
PAL
PAL in
is
Australia,
vertical.
Europe was vertical. Yeah.
Wow. PAL was, you didn't really get anything in P mode 4. You just got a mess.
Yeah, but in PMO 3, you guys could mix vertically and actually get 6 colors.
Yeah, you get
right?
a few colors, but yeah, that was fine if you have a CRT.
Yeah, because your Donut Dilemma used that technique, I think, the original version.
Yeah, it did. I don't know how well it works on an LCD, but
anyway, yeah, we'll have to have Richard on to give us an update on that project when it's going on sale, what tweaks it has compared to the original, and maybe compare it with one of these here too, since apparently, some of these the schematics, etc., are available publicly. So, and 60 saying yes, horizontal and vertical artifacts. Just talk to Erico.
Woo! Nothing works. By twice.
Or everything works, and it should have been the way we did it.
Right.
Okay, next step after that, we have Jim Bob on the CoCo Facebook group posted a short video showing the result of his typing and his sample program from Don Kurt Inman book, Assembly Language Graphics for the TRS-80 Color Computer. My favorite one, growing up to learn assembly language, I liked it better than Barden or Leventhal or Zax or any of the other ones, because it was CoCo specific, covered the VDG chip, covered the 6-bit sound, everything. He's the second person in the last little while that's actually been going through this book. The other one, of course, being David Kraker from Winnipeg, who, of course, has been active at the show and is helping Bruce with his MP3 thing that will be coming out as part of Realm of Doom. But this is one of the sample programs that Don Kurt Inman put in the book, and you can read his post on Facebook to see some details of the actual program itself. I believe this one is scanned and on the archive now, this book. But if you want to learn some of its graphics and sound routines for the CoCo 1 and 2 specifically, it doesn't get into CoCo 3 because that didn't exist when they wrote it. This is actually the one I found the easiest to understand if you're new to the whole thing. And this will show you like just a little sound routine that's in there, but it's something you definitely could not make with like a play command. It's not closing it. It's going to keep repeating this. That's good.
That didn't hurt.
Yeah, and I turned the volume down. Oh, it's going to do it again.
I think that'll work.
There.
I'm up. I'm up.
Mm-hmm.
There. I've ruined everybody's sleep right at the end of their nap.
We're sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. I did turn the volume down. That wasn't full blast, so that would have been even worse. Next up, we've got Pedro Pena, also known on YouTube as Rocky Hills. You'll see these videos here, but he's been doing some updates to DriveWire 4, and he released a couple videos related to this. The first one, he's actually got it running on Apple Silicon. That's that M series of chips based on ARM that all the new Macs and iPads and iPhones and everything else use. So he has a quick little 3-minute video on that. Not too much to show that, just that he's actually got it compiling and natively running. He proves that it's running and you can actually log in. And you access drive images, etc. And this is based on DriveWire 4, so it's got all the extended stuff for virtual windows and stuff too. I won't play that particular video. The next one, though, is he's actually done an update to DriveWire 4 itself, version 4.3.5p update. This video is 10 minutes long, so obviously I don't want to play the whole thing here. I'll just play a little bit at the beginning here where he kind of just talks about the fact that he's done this update, and then I'll mention some of the things that he mentioned in his comments here as to what exactly is on here. So I'll play a little bit at the beginning, and then I'll give you a little bit of an update, if he doesn't tell you right at the beginning himself.
Hello, everybody. Today I want to share the latest updates, fixes, and improvements in DriveWire 4. There is a lot to cover, from modern browser support to enhanced disk and archive management. First, the SWT library has been updated. It's moved from version 4.2.4, that's from 2012, all the way to version 4.37, released in September of 2025. This brings a huge range of improvements, especially for the embedded browser component. DriveWire 4 can now load modern web pages and support current web technologies. That means a smoother, more reliable experience when browsing documentation or downloads directly inside of the app. The bookmark menu has been refreshed. You now have easy access to Nitrous 9 resources, including the official documentation wiki and the ease of use project.
Woohoo!
Software websites includes Curtis Boyle's game site, the Color Computer Archive, and Mike Snyder's CoCoQuest. DriveWire specific sites include the DriveWire 4 wiki, which is the home page, the GitHub repository, where you can download DriveWire from, and its source code, the discontinued SourceForge repository, the official Boise Pete repository, and Pi DriveWire. Now let's talk about the browser itself. Thanks to the SWT update, DriveWire 4 can now render HTML audio controls directly in the browser. For example, load HTTP DOS page. This is a local web page that includes an audio player for 3 HTTP DOS WAV files, or WAV files. Files included are for the CoCo1, the CoCo2, and the CoCo3. You can play these files directly inside of DriveWire, making HTTP DOS loading across CoCo systems much more convenient. I'll give you a little sample here. Okay, I'll stop that, but you get the idea.
Anyway, he goes into a lot of detail, a whole bunch of other things that he's got in here too. Audio playback of HTTP WAV files, which you just demonstrated. You can actually hear it, so you can kind of hear what's on the tape image itself. He's also done some bug fixes, improved the user.
We lose Curtis?
I guess so. He done froze.
He's not using his Ford, is he?
No. So it's darn gamers for the
Yeah, we should actually have him back. What's
There
that?
he is.
Oh,
he's back.
You froze for about 15 seconds there.
Yeah, you didn't know it though.
Oh, I did?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't hear anything I just said?
Nope.
Nope. Roll back 30 seconds.
Okay.
When you said, hi, I'm Curtis Boyle.
Okay. Yeah, so basically he's added in audio playback, which you heard there with loading HTTP DOS. He's done some bug fixes. He's improved the user interface. He's got prepackaged releases that are completely self-contained for Windows and Linux, and also, as in the other video, he's mentioned for the OS 10 for the M series
Bundle with
chips.
Java. Very nice.
Yeah. Enhanced disk management, like one of the things he's got there is you can actually load in disk images directly from the Color Computer Archive. You don't actually have to download them first. You can just click on the link and it just immediately links it in. So there's quite a few updates. You should actually watch the whole video if you're interested in that. But it's good we're seeing some updates to DriveWire 4. And we should have him on the show if we can to actually kind of go through this in a bit more detail and do some demos, I think.
Has he been on the show before?
Many times.
Really?
Just not recently. But he's usually stationed out in a boat in the middle of the Atlantic somewhere, so it's kind of hard to get on sometimes.
It's true.
Next about that, Tuesday Retro Programming, we were trying to get on the show last week. Did you ever get that resolved, Mark? Did you ever?
No, I've not heard from him. Not heard from him again.
Huh. Okay. Well, hopefully he listens to this and comes back on and tries to get on the show. But he's been working on his Ulysses game here. This is a P Mode 1 game, and he's actually added some more to his target practicing. You can actually see he's got a bit of a background now with some pillars and fancier graphics in the background. And he's using the P-copy technique where you do the draw of the character on top of the background. You copy the background from a hidden page, and put the character on, and then you display that one. So actually it looks like it's not, destroying the background stuff in BASIC, which is kind of cool. Not the quickest thing in the world, but it works pretty good actually visually. And I don't think he's using the speed up poke, so we actually could.
So, as you can see, I added some columns here. That's what those big purple things are. And for a lack of colors, this was the best that I could do. So those are two columns like holding up the ceiling, and it's a training hall, not a training room. It's kind of like an open cloister with some walls.
Anyway, we demonstrated last week when we did the target practice where you have to try to shoot a target, and you have to be lined up horizontally so the arrowhead hits directly on it, and also sometimes the target moves up, so you have to jump and shoot type thing. And like I said, I don't believe he's using the speed up poke on this, so I think it could be a fair bit faster if you just added that. But it's nice to see a basic program where you're actually having a character go in front of a background that's not, destroying it. There's a couple different ways to do it. P-copy, the way he's doing is probably the easiest. It's not the quickest. There are some techniques you can use with get put buffers too, that you can actually create masks, etc., to do that as well, which we demonstrated on the show. You remember, Nick, because we kind of did that whole get put demo.
Yeah.
Probably about a year ago or something.
I remember.
Because I remember there was a post on Facebook this week too where somebody said, "How can you possibly do any decent graphics using get put when you have to like dim, a real number variable per pixel?" Which is what the manual tells you to do. That's just totally stupid because that's not how it actually works. Basically, you get pixels are 1 or 2 bits each, depending on if you're in a 2 or 4 color mode. And I demonstrated on that show where you can actually get put the entire P mode 4 screen, and it takes 6K. So there's definitely some hidden tricks there. One, the manual's wrong, and then 2, they didn't actually explain how the fast mode works, which we've covered on that same show that Nick and I are talking about. It's also covered in the October 1983 issue of Rainbow. There's a demo program that actually shows you how much faster the even byte get put buffers can be. So if you design your game with that in mind, you can actually get speed ups of hundreds of %. And in fact, the larger your characters are, and he's using fairly large ones here, the more proportionally faster that gets from the original, normal get put buffers as described in the manual. So if you're going to be doing arcade style games on the CoCo, I would definitely design stuff with that in mind. You should go back and check that video. I'm trying to remember, Nick, do you remember, was that a special or was that just the regular show we did that on?
CoCoTech.
Was it CoCoTech? Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to Mark. He knows all about CoCoTech. That's his baby, and he'll be able to steer to the video.
I'll post a link to it.
Cool. We also did our semi-graphics where you can fool basic and extended basic to doing some semi-graphics commands too if you want to have 9 colors on the screen once in higher res. Next up after that, this just got released this morning, actually. It's a YouTube channel I've never heard of before called Little Car, but it's a pretty big one because he's got over 57,000 subscribers. And he's been doing these kind of historical videos lately, kind of going over the history of a computer. And this particular one he released today is about the TRS-80 color computer. And it's one of the ones that I think he actually did a bit of proper research on because he's a bit aware of some third-party stuff. He's aware of the CoCo 3 because a lot of them just stop with the CoCo 1 and 2. He's gives a compliment the fact that Tandy managed to get an 8-bit machine sold brand new for 10 years in a row. There's not too many machines that can claim that. I think the Apple II and the C64 are one of the few others that was sold continuously by the original company for that length. And he even talks about a bit about OS 9. He talks about upgrades to the keyboard, upgrades to RAM, all kinds of stuff. So I found it quite good. I will just play a little tiny bit at the beginning so you can kind of get a feel for it. You should definitely go watch it. I'm not going to play the whole 20 minutes, obviously.
Yeah,
Radio
pretty.
Shack, the company.
Sorry, what was that?
The picture is pretty. Of our machine.
That you might know as Tandy started out serving electronics nerds selling radio components. To grow their market, they quickly moved into finished computer electronics like hi-fi separates. Their venture into computing started the same way. The original TRS-80 was pitched to computer nerds, but as the interest for computing grew, they hoped to sell to the masses with the TRS-80 color computer, affectionately known as the CoCo. It's a machine that, despite playing second fiddle to other more popular home computers in the 1980s, went on to have a surprisingly long life spanning 10 years. And why did this computer have such an odd origin? This is the TRS-80 color computer story.
Well, that gives you a feel of kind of how he does a presentation there. He mentions stuff like the MC10, goes to the CoCo 1, 2, and 3. I would say out of the ones I've seen from people that are not a member of the CoCo community at all, it's probably one of the more accurate ones I've seen. There's a few little things that are a little bit out of sequence when he starts talking about the CoCo2 and the changes. He doesn't mention the deluxe color computer at all because I don't think he knew about it, and a lot of people don't. But one of the more accurate ones, like he actually does know what the differences between a CoCo3 and a CoCo2 are, for example. So I quite liked it. I just watched it this morning before the show, actually. So I would highly recommend going to check it out. Please leave him some comments, too. Let him know there's definitely some CoCo love still going on these days. And after that, the last one I've got, and then we'll get into the upcoming shows. Jay Mundy, who just came off of releasing the MC10 game Us, U period S period, and Them, T period H period E period M period, has got a new MC10 game under development. And he did a little... What's that?
Us, them, and me.
Right. What pronoun this time?
Yeah.
I'm not in it.
So anyway,
I have to go.
Go ahead.
I'll see you guys later. Okay.
Okay, later on.
Take care, Ron. Bye, Ron.
No, sorry.
See you guys. Yeah.
So anyway, he's working on a new game for the MC10. Once again, this is going to require the SD, what is it, SDX32SD, because he needs the virtual disk functions. And actually, the blog here, he does a little bit of demo of graphics. He doesn't want to give the game away, so he's not telling you too much about it. What he was going through is some of the new techniques he's doing, like things like passing variables between multiple programs. So he has like a main loop that can do some stuff, and then he's calling other programs entirely to run, but he's keeping the variables like where the player's position, their strength, and whatever else is all contained in that. And he's explaining, kind of, how he came up with some of these techniques to do these kind of features, which is pretty cool. I mean, we had some programs on the CoCo, and Deluxe CoCo actually had the ability to pass variables back and forth between programs selectively or in their entirety in the ROM. At least the final ROM, the version we have now, doesn't quite work properly, but it does do some of it. And there was some third-party stuff that did this as well. And he also covers like kind of the disk directory structure. He's going to be using this to use the SD upgrade or adapter thing for the MC10. So I'll play a little bit of the beginning here just to give you a little bit of a teaser for it. But definitely, if you're into MC10 games, and I mean, he's done a couple of the big ones lately here, along with Indy Fuda, which just released a new game today or yesterday as well. Give you a little bit of feel what he's talking about. This is a bit more on the technical side of things for programmers, which is why I didn't put this in the game news. It's more of a programmer's blog.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to do something I don't normally do, which is I'm going to give you a sneak peek at a new game that I'm working on. And I normally don't give previews of games that I'm working on because I don't want to ruin the surprise, but this game has some kind of interesting programming techniques, and it's the most comprehensive game that I've worked on, as well as it has the most programming challenges and interesting things as far as programming goes, that I thought I might show you some behind the scenes tricks, or at least some considerations that I'm looking at. And I'm just going to give you a quick peek at the box here, although I'm going to fuzz it out so you can't see exactly what it is, but that's the new game I'm working on. And so let's go ahead and switch the camera over, and I'll give you just a quick taste of this new upcoming game that hopefully will be released in the near future. So stick around and we'll get started right now.
I saw stars.
Okay, so here we are in the game itself, and you may be able to tell just by the look of the screen what computer this game is intended to run on. And you can see so far it's showing a message that says timed encounter and a flashing prompt to press the button. So a couple interesting things about this game. For one thing, this game is a multi-part loading game, which means the game itself consists of multiple individual programs that get loaded automatically as the program runs. So as the player is playing the game, different programs actually load and get executed depending on what the player is doing in the game. Now this is something I have done before in my previous game, but the way I used it in my previous game, it was all sequential. meaning the game was linear. So when the player started playing the game, they started on stage 1, and then as they progressed to stage 2, a separate program would get loaded, and in that way the program only loaded other programs one after the other, which is a great feature to have, because then you really have no more memory limitations whatsoever, and your game or your program can just continuously load other programs as needed. But the way that I used program loading in that particular game is, since I was doing it sequentially, the computer didn't have to go back and forth between different programs and remember the variables as it's doing this jumping around. In this game, however, the player will be going back and forth between different areas in the game, so the game needs to be able to remember the variables that it's using for these different areas. So this is something new that I haven't done before, which is kind of an expansion of that existing feature, giving the game even more flexibility to make it not relying on memory limitations so much. I can just load new programs as I need them, including reloading a previous program where the player just came from. So that's one thing that I'm using in this game. But what I wanted to discuss is some features that I use in relation to what is called the main game loop. So if you're familiar with game programming, you probably know that typically there's a main loop that runs in the program continuously, and that loop will call other subroutines to perform certain actions. But there are some useful things we can do within that main game loop to take advantage of the fact that it is constantly running and constantly repeating itself over and over again. So there are 3 main ways that I'm using that main game loop to enhance this particular game.
And to find out what those are, you'll have to watch the rest of the video yourself. But yeah, he gets into some pretty cool advanced techniques for using on the MC10 in specific. Once again, it does require the SD32 SD card reader type thing for the disk directory style structure access, so we can load programs at random. You don't have to do things sequentially like on tape like the original MC10 did. And hopefully somebody will start manufacturing that. I know he made his own there and actually worked first try, which is a bit of a surprise even to him. But that is basically, if you have an MC10, if you want to get into the retro on the MC10, I think you have, that's the must-have. It's like the CoCo SDC on the CoCo 1, 2, and 3. You absolutely need that because it opens up extra RAM. It gives you extended basic, and it gives you some bunch of other features, drive wire, all kinds of, or drive wires like a whole bunch of support that really helps enhance the machine. And his game will require it. So hopefully somebody starts making those good. And then the last regular news story I have. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I wonder how sales went for his last game.
Apparently good enough that he's doing another one.
Right?
Because I think after all the, the printing and doing all the, the fancy cases and boxing and stuff there, yeah. I think if it was sold like terrible, I don't think he'd bother be doing it again. So I'm guessing he did fairly well. And of course, it works in the Owls too, because the SD works in the Owls, so he might get some sales in France as well. So yeah, go check that video out. Also to mention the stuff we were talking about before about using get put buffers more effectively and how to use the fast get put buffers, as well as how to use the semigraphics. Mark has posted into the chat the direct links to the CoCoTech episodes, but I'll repeat them here in case you're just listening in audio and you want to check it later. CoCoTech episode 6 and 6A have those. So thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. And it was fun engineering those as well.
Yep, and then we got our big CoCo Force special. We got to get a bunch of us together here for next week. Okay, so that's it for the regular news. Now I've just got the upcoming shows. I thought I had one more story, but I was mistaken. I was looking at the wrong part of my script thing. Like we're scripted here. So the next one is the upcoming shows, and some of them are coming up pretty darn quick.
Like next week.
Yeah.
Right? Dang it, gotta go. Bye.
No, you don't. I need you, Rick.
No, my stuff's on fire, man. Didn't you hear? It exploded.
Exploded.
I got an unexpected
likely excuse.
So, Mark Overholder, since you're kind of in charge of CoCoTech and the Tandy Retro Show, virtual show, any updates? Obviously, we've kind of got a tentative agreement for the CoCo 4 portion of the show, which we're going to try to do right after the regular show, and it's probably going to be close to 2 hours long. It'll have, hopefully, if Rick didn't totally blow his things up and if mine still works, we've got Joel Evie showing off an M1. Rick's going to show up the Delmar System 5. I'll be showing the Frank Hogg TC9.
Yep. Yeah, we'll probably slot that to 2 hours right after we do the CoCoNation, which will probably, go for 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm going to try to cut it a little bit short, just so that, people have a bit of time to, grab a bite to eat or something.
Yeah, that's fine. So, and like I said, I sent you last week or earlier this week, I sent you the schedule, who's all said they want to be there. Joel AV wants to also do a presentation on, let me read off my spreadsheet here so I'm not trying to do this off the top of my head. There it is. Yep, okay. So not necessarily in this order, but Richard Lorbiewski is going to talk about his new multi-pack, the theory operation, the past ones, and the current one he's working on. His webpage says February is when he's expecting to have that available. Joel Evie, 8-bit artifacting on the CoCo 3, both old style by Jason Law and Potato Head, as well as new method by Sockmaster. And Rick's going to talk about the CoCo IO and his network game he's working on. And then there's the, CoCo 4 machines, all 7 of them, or 10 of them, or is it 15 of them? So anyway, hopefully scheduled to appear multiple people, including Joel Evie and Rick Hewland and probably Brian W. and whoever else you can dig up.
Yeah, Brian's in that list too,
Yep. Yeah, Joel Evie says I got an MM1 to show and a Delmar case and a TC9.
Yeah, Brian's got the MM1 as well, and I did see there's a post from James Jones today on Facebook. He actually found a copy of the source listing for K Windows, which is the windowing system that Kevin Darling had posted. Now, he's not sure if it's like the latest version that was done. It might have been an earlier one because James was involved in the development of stuff there. But that'd be kind of cool to see too. It's based on multi-view G shell, but it's more advanced, obviously, because it's got a lot more colors and a better graphics chip, etc.
And this was designed for the 68,000. That's why it's K Windows.
No, it's K Windows because it was Kevin Darling.
Because Kevin Darling.
Gotcha. Okay. And then the only other person that chimed in was William Strickland. Same thing you want to talk more about is TFR9, basically software-defined peripherals. So he came on the Tandy Tech show last year talking about when he was first building it. So those are the only people I have that have said anything so far. Okay. So I just have tentative people plugged into various places, kind of based on where they were last year or where they said they want to be. So
okay. That email you sent that email you said that went to me, Joel, Rick, and Brian. I hope.
I didn't send. I sent it to Richard, Joel, Rick, you, and Henry Strickland.
So okay. I figured we should include Brian Weezer because he definitely wants to be part of that too. So.
Yeah, I figured you would reach out to him mainly just for the scheduling. So, or when you want to get scheduled. You said the time slot's probably fine. Oh, also, Eddie Zerbinski's going to be at VCF Montreal, and he'll pop on at some point, and we'll cover him doing at least a half hour or so running around looking at stuff. So, anyway, that's all we have for next Saturday, as well as the usual cruft. I mean, the usual
cruft. You froze again.
Yeah, I saw that one. My computer suddenly decided it'll log into a distant network that's got terrible bandwidth. I don't know why it did that. It did it automatically without me telling it to. Stupid thing.
Well, it turned your sketch pad off, so that was good.
Yeah, I saw that. Someone turned that on and drew a line and that just hung around the screen there for a bit. I was hoping if I ignored it, nobody would notice.
We anyway. Noticed, but I couldn't figure out how to turn it off.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
Anyway, we'll be trying to stream to the usual our YouTube and Twitch here on the CoCoNation plus Glenside CCC's YouTube as well. And they'll be recorded, of course, so you can go back and watch them later because we all know we get a lot of people viewing our stuff the week after we stream it live. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
Joel Evie is actually in the chat right now, and he mentions K Windows source. David Graham has been looking for that. As James said, he's not sure if it's the most up-to-date version, but at least it's a base. You can kind of compare the output.
Right. You got your symbols and stuff. Yeah.
And that there was a version of that for the MM1. There was a version of that for the TC70, I think, with just the 256 color standard, the 6070, and the whatever the graphics chip was, did, as well as the palette controller edition you could do in the M1 to get the 16 million color version. So yeah, that would be kind of cool to see that too. But yeah, I wanted to ask Joel and Rick. I was going to ask Brian if he was here today, but he's not. I was going to see if I have time, hopefully, to do it, but I was going to try to find the original ads in Rainbow and World with 6 to 8 micros when these machines were coming out, like the Blackhawk did the MM1B, and then there was the AT306 and some other ones. We may not be able to demonstrate the show, but I want to show some of the other ones that were actually, quote unquote CoCo 4s, kicks 20, kicks 30. I was going to try to find the original ads and stuff there and kind of make a presentation, and then the people can actually present the machines themselves, either by software, hardware. If it's functional, demo it. If it's not functional, at least show what it looked like, and maybe find some ad brochures or documentation that came with them as well. So I'll try to round up some of that, but I may not be able to get all of it. So if you guys have some stuff there, let me know, and I might borrow it off rather than try to hunt it down myself if you guys have it available.
I've got an MM1 promotional video.
Do you?
Yep.
How long is it?
I'm just checking, 61 meg. I'll send it to you through Discord.
No, how many minutes? Like, I just want to.
Oh, hang on. Let me just play it. 11 minutes.
Wow.
It's 11 minutes long.
I don't know if I do a whole 11 minutes, but yeah, well, maybe we'll play some of that. That would be cool.
I'll send it to you.
Should at least review it. Maybe some good things to cherry pick out of it.
I'll definitely cherry pick some stuff out of that.
Pick out the sexy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next up after that is the exact same weekend, actually. And that's VCF in Montreal, January 24th to 25th. The very first VCF themed for Canada. And I will mention one of the sponsors of this show is Retro Rewind. And Frank actually called me yesterday. He's probably haven't seen much of him or heard much of him lately. That's because he was undergoing some medical stuff and he was actually off work for a while. So he's all good now. And he's catching up on orders like crazy. And one of the things that he will be working on will be the CoCo STC2, which I guess has been basically finalized. He's actually got some of the parts and stuff in it for now. It's got some features that have not been announced previous to this, and I'm not going to one-up him on that one. I'll let him come on to the show. He said he should be able to come on either next week or the week after, if things go well. And there's some pretty cool features that I don't think any CoCo hardware has done before. So there's a teaser for you. All right, this one is, of course, at the Royal Military College of... Oh, is Frederick still here? Did he have to leave?
He left.
Oh, darn. Near Montreal. And there's at least half a dozen CoCo people planning on attending, from Sockmaster to Henry Reitveld to Frederick to Jim Gary's going to be there, of course, for the MC10.
Eddie Zerbinski will be there.
Yeah, Ed Zerbinski. And there's another guy with, I think he's originally from Brazil or something, that he's actually been to CoCoFEST in Chicago too, but he's going to as well. He mentioned it in the Discord on the VCF channel. But I want to mention the speakers here, because actually the speakers has some CoCo related stuff too. So you've got some general stuff. We've kind of talked about some of the stuff like the Apollo system computer that, the moon landings were done, etc. But you can Naboo, which is a Canadian thing that actually really took off when the whole bunch were put for sale, brand new in the box still. Last year, the year before, I think it was. But if you scroll through their list of speakers, Jim Gary, Canadian Basic Retro Game Archaeology, Obstacles, Pitfalls, and Holes. And that will be an English presentation. And he's covering some of the stuff he's been doing on the MC10, including all the conversions he's done. Fabian Rodriguez from CoCo2 Community, the color computer then and now. That might be the one I'm trying to remember the name of. So he's giving a presentation as well on the CoCo. And there's the French version. So there's two of the presentations are CoCo and MC10 related. So that, yeah, there's at least half a dozen. I know there's a few other people that are planning on attending too that also are CoCo related or going to try to. So that actually looks like it's going to have a pretty good CoCo. I mean, Frank from Retro Rewind, he's going to try to make it down. His health is, he's in the recovery part, so he's not sure if he's going to be able to physically make it, but Retro Rewind will be there. And some of the people you've seen at CoCoFEST manning the Retro Rewind booth will be there as well. So, and a couple of them now have CoCos too. Jason Warrens in Calgary does a lot of assembly and stuff for Frank. I gave him a CoCo3 system that I got over here, and he's actually headed up and running. He's been on the Game On Challenge a couple times doing that, so he'll definitely be there too as well. So if you get a chance to go out there, come by and say hi to them. I know Henry Redfeld has a table. He's actually going to let some CoCo people set up some stuff there. He's not doing CoCo's this particular show. He's got some other stuff like the Naboo and I think something else he was going to demonstrate because he's into all retro. But definitely some cool stuff to see. And he's planning on letting some of the CoCo people bring their own stuff if they want to show that off. And I'm sure Frank will be showing off like CoCo SDCs and possibly the CoCo SDC too. That might be your first chance to see it in real life. Next up after that, we got the Indy Classic. This is one that's in Indianapolis, Indiana, March 21st to the 22nd in a new location at the Wyndham Indianapolis Airport Hotel. So if you fly there, it's pretty convenient. It's right at the airport itself. This one is partly organized by Randy Kindig of the Floppy Days podcast, who originally started as a TRS-80 and Atari guy himself. And he's done some interviews and stuff that have been related to CoCo stuff. If you go through the Floppy Days podcast list, you'll be able to find several interviews that you can get with people that were directly involved with the CoCo, both from the hardware and software perspectives. Next after that, of course, is the big kahuna, and we just had an update last week from Grant, including the fact that tables will be going on sale at February 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern, if you want to be a vendor or an exhibitor.
3 p.m. Central.
Or Central. Geez, why do I keep changing time zones? Anyway, April 24th to 25th, this is shifting to a day earlier than it has been in previous years, except last year, but that went quite well, so we're keeping that going. And of course, this is the big show. If you're into the CoCo, this is the show you should go to. But if you happen to be in southern South America at that exact same weekend, you can't make it up to Chicago, the very first Latin American Vintage Computer Festival is happening. So there's two brand new VCFs this year, the one in Montreal and the one in Argentina, I believe it is. Called VCF LATAM, LATAM. I'm not sure if that's an abbreviation of something or if that's just it means something. For 2026. But yeah, April 24th to 26th in Bahia Blanca, Argentina. And they've sounds like they're gonna
LATAM is Latin America.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
That would make sense.
Latin, yeah. Latin
Makes
America.
too much sense. That's why I never figured it out. But they have activities going on. They've got collectors and makers are going to do some of the making stuff, demonstrating all kinds of old hardware. In addition, the Spatio Tech Museum, the largest interactive computer museum in all of Latin America, is located right nearby too. So that will also be open during the festival. That's just a few blocks away. Now I'm just going to see if they have any speakers listed, but I don't see any. Some more VCF in general. Date. Stands here. If you want to reserve a table yourself, you can do that on their website. There's a presentation by special guests and leading figures in the field of retro computing, both from Argentina and abroad. Full schedule will be announced soon, so it's not out yet. That's why I can't find it. Anyway, I hope that inaugural show goes well. I did hear from Frank. He was talking about how many pre-orders for tickets and stuff they have for the Montreal one. And there's also, they expect to get, like maybe about 30% more with walk-ins. And it looks like the tickets are selling pretty good. They might even, get up close to 1,000 people for this first show. So I was going to ask Mark, since you've been at the PNW one before, what was attendance like when it was still officially a VCF? Do you remember?
If I go back in my emails, I'll find them from Michael Brutman, who gave the numbers, but it was tremendous. I mean, hundreds, I think, a few hundred. It was more than the Living Computer Museum usually ever saw on a given day. They really liked having the VCFs there because they just brought people in.
Okay, cool.
I'll see if I can find those numbers from my old email and
for an inaugural VCF show, I mean, VCF is popular. Of course, the one in Chicago is, I think, around 3,000 people now these days. But 1,000 for a start, if that's what they end up actually getting, is pretty darn good start, I think.
Yeah, it would be.
The next one up, you're up again, Mark.
What do you know? By the way, they opened up the registration last week on the 8th, which was 2 days before we last streamed. Anyway, scroll down, you'll see who's already going to be there in the list.
Exhibits and talks. Any ones that
There
are
we go.
CoCo related, or should we just point out a couple that are probably
Me.
more famous? You're in there. What are you doing?
Yeah, what CoCo guy?
8-bit network computer networking. You know, I only have a FujiNet and an Ethernet card from my CoCo. And a Ethernet
I see
card
Adrian
for
Black's
my-
going to be there too, so that's cool.
Yeah. That's the very top. Yeah, he's the only name I recognize offhand. I'm sure I recognize the other people.
I recognize Steve Stroh. He's been at Chicago CoCoFest.
Yes, we have.
Right.
Because that's when we thought that it was like a nickname for Stevie Strobridge, but Strobridge was there at the same time, and then all of a sudden the quote-unquote real Steve Stroh.
Right.
But yeah. Oh, you fooled me. You put your middle name in here. That's why I didn't recognize it.
They said enter your full name. I just followed instructions.
So you're MDO. So we have
I'm
RAM,
MDO.
CRT, MDO. We're
Yep.
going through all the 3-letter acronyms here.
I do know a Jason Perkins. I don't think it's the same one though, but a Xerox Star, that's the original commercial
Yeah.
GUI, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
That was Xerox. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, it's not the first
Entry.
GUI, because that would have been the demo of all demos that was in 1968, but that's where the idea
This is the one that
First
Steve
commercial.
walked in and said, I got to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like a good idea.
Yeah, well, he bought the legal rights for it from him. I mean, HP's execs had no idea what they were giving away.
Right, right.
But
They
it was all
wanted to
done
make
legally.
copies.
Like, there's all these claims that it was outright stolen. It wasn't. They
No, they
paid
invested.
for it.
Xerox wanted to make copiers and Kodak wanted to make film cameras. That was it.
Yeah, that was a lost opportunity because if they realized what they had, they could have
Right.
you know,
Even
made
though
them pay
they
through the
both
nose.
had, I mean, Kodak had a digital camera and Xerox had the Star, and neither one of them did anything with those things.
Yeah. Well, I do remember they interviewed one of the engineers at HP at the time, or sorry, at Xerox at the time, and the engineers were going, "What are you doing? Don't sell this for this cheap. What the heck? We know this can go places," type thing. And they just went, "Ah, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You guys don't know how to market or make money. You guys are just engineers."
Our core strengths. Focus on our core strengths.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. You guys have got some pretty big names in there, and definitely some names I recognize, and definitely some interesting subjects. I don't see any CoCo specific stuff in there. You might have to do a second one, Mark.
Right?
No pressure. How'd you get
CoCo-
Tim Linder to come and do one? He's near you, right?
Yeah, he is. He's between me and there. So yeah. See
Yeah,
if he'll
pick him
come and
up on
show
the way. Yeah. Don't tell him you're coming. Just pick him up on the way.
No, I'll be showing off stuff like being able to boot OS 9 across the internet with the CoCo.io ROM one.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Anyway, that's all the shows that I am aware of. So if there's any I've missed, please email me at curtisboyle@sastel.net or just send it in the news topic suggestions channel on the CoCo Discord, and we'll add them in as soon as we can. But that's it for the show, or for the news anyway, this week. Mr. Bosley, wake up.
Yeah, I'm here. Just gotta find all the right buttons again. Throw this away. All right. I think that was everything that we had on the agenda.
It even stopped snowing. It's a good time to be alive.
No snow, huh?
No, not a flake.
Well, looks like you picked up a half an inch or so.
Yeah, well, that's a good day in Milwaukee. Trust me.
Okay, well, in that case, let's run some outros. I put everything away. Somewhere here. Here we go.
This concludes another episode of the CoCoNation, the world's leading live interactive talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things the CoCoNation, visit us on the web at thecoconation.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to show@thecoconation.com. The Coco Nation Show would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. The Coco Nation theme song, copyright 2022, D. Bruce Moore. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. The Coco Nation is over. Join us on the Coco Discord server.
Coco forever.
So, Mark.
Yo.
What's the schedule of events for next week? When should people start tuning in?
Well, so far, the earliest thing I have so far is, let me jump back here to my spreadsheet. Looks like 11 Eastern time, which would be 10 your time. So that's Richard Florbieski is who I have there. So I still have a couple slots before that, but nothing's been committed into it yet. So.
Okay, so far 10 o'clock Eastern.
Yep. Yeah, essentially it's starting 3 hours before we normally stream the Coco Nation, and then there's going to be another 4 hours after that. Maybe.
Okay. All right, that way everyone knows when to start tuning in.
Once I make sure everything's locked in, I'll start posting a few things. So, and probably pre set up some streams so people get notifications.
Okay, and then maybe on Thursday a last second update.
Yeah, plug. Yep, I'll be plugging on Facebook as well.
Challenge.
Oh yeah, I'm also going to join the Trash Talkers tonight and pitch, and see if anybody else wants to join them too. So
that could help. Oh, goodies.
Yep.
We're seeing the secret part of Curtis's hideout that we've never seen before.
That's a camera angle I'll be using to show off the Tomcat next week.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I haven't got it up there yet. It's in the back right now, and I got my neck multi-sync 2 ready to go for it as well. If I can find the stupid boot disc, I can actually show something I'm running on it. I have a copy of the original boot disc that came with it. It was a very primitive driver, and Bill and I did a lot of work, so I'd like to show the version 2 ones.
A good one.
Yeah.
Okay. And Sloopy, do you feel as good as you look? Because you're definitely out of focus.
He's.
I feel fantastic.
He feels fuzzy today.
Yeah. All right. Well, see you guys on Thursday and tune in next Saturday. Till then.